It is 6:01. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. Brian Callahan met with the media yesterday and talked about what the team has to play for these next 4 games.
To me, it's pretty straightforward. My job is to continue to build what I believe in as far as the process goes. You know, these 4 games are very important for us. They're important games. And even though we're out of playoff contention and there's nothing to play for in the postseason, these are important games for what we're trying to set for the future.
Titans and Bengals this Sunday. Speaking of the Bengals, they won last night on Monday Night Football, 27-20 on a late touchdown from Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase. Bengals improved to 5-8, while the Cowboys fall to 5-8. Toy Field today at Nissan Stadium. All day, Gate 6, Lot H is where you need to park. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Live from Nissan Stadium, RKW is on your radios in a foggy, rainy, and dark Nashville, Tennessee. But what we are doing today, it is very bright. It is very cheerful. It is good for the community. It is Toy Field presented by First Horizon Bank, officially off and running here at Gate 6 on the city side of Nissan Stadium. Will Bowling, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, Kirby Allen, awaiting the arrival of Ramone Foster any moment as we get you started on a full day here for 104.5 The Zone at Nissan Stadium. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, we love this time of year. We love being able to give back to the community, obviously. But we also love to meet the listeners, and a lot of them come by and say hi, and we've already had a few this morning. So looking forward to it for the next 4 hours.
It is great that we get to kick off the festivities here. So we are the first ones on air. Our friends at 103.3, our friends at 95.5, 92Q, our entire Cumulus family. This is one of the coolest things we do every year. It's something that I knew about before I ever worked here. And what we are asking for are unwrapped toys and a gift for a senior. We talk about a lot of winter things this time of year. It's not that cold this morning, but it will be very soon in Middle Tennessee and the surrounding areas. That is what we are asking for as we build a field of all the gifts, all the toys right in front of us.
Yeah, it's cool, Will, because in the beginning when we get here at 6 a.m., there's not a lot of toys on, right? But by the time 3HL is here and at the end of the day, we see all the pictures and how it's filled out. And that's just so, gratifying to see what the community is able to do each and every year.
It is. So one of the coolest things we do every year, and it is warm here. So the cold cannot deter you from getting out of your car and dropping things off.
It's perfect. We got some heaters if you do stay to chat for a while, and we're not cold, which is crazy. I feel like it's even almost warmer than the studio.
That's right. That is right. So hopefully this morning as well, for every minute Ramone is late, he's going to have to make another trip to a convenience store of his choosing or a department store of his choosing. I'm gonna deem a toy per minute.
Ooh, I like that.
That Ramone is not here.
I really like that. I think that's a great deal right there. And I don't think he'd mind it either because, he likes to give back. So it'd be perfect. He can bring in his whole truck when it's all said and done, just all the toys.
There you go. Rand Carthon said what? It was $100 a minute when we started at training camp earlier this year. So it's a toy a minute.
I like
today. For Ramone Foster.
It is the season of giving, and it is also the season of, trying to figure out what the heck's going on with the Titans. But we'll get into all of that, I know, Will.
We will. This morning, Austin Price at 8:20, Andy Staples at 7:20. We'll talk college football with them. Brian Callahan talked yesterday about his job security, about his process, about exactly what the last few weeks have been like for him. Buck made the point yesterday. The guy made the point yesterday. John Robinson was fired 2 years ago on Toy Field.
You know what? I keep forgetting about that because that was my first ever Toy Field.
Yeah.
And that was the news that came, was it right when our show ended, pretty much?
It was about 12:15 because I was napping. And then I woke up from a nap, and it was, I think it was like I woke up at 12:30, and then it just happened at 12:15, and that's when I saw the video of Lucas and Buck reacting to it here.
That's right.
Because the GIF of them reacting to it and just being totally flabbergasted happened here.
Yeah, because I don't think any of us were really expecting that to happen. We all knew that there were things behind the scenes that weren't exactly going, great, but we didn't think firing at that point of the season would be a thing, and clearly it was, and that's why we always say you never know what to expect in the NFL.
Honestly, especially not here.
No.
That was 2 years ago at Toy Field. So I'm not going to nap today. You're right. I don't think a firing is imminent for Brian Callahan from any stretch of the imagination. But it is just weird. You remember certain things that happened in your life and in your career and where you were. That was certainly a where were you moment.
It was. And it's funny, too, because you were napping. I think I was actually in a workout, and usually I don't have my phone directly on me, but I do remember hearing the ding, ding, dings going off.
Yeah.
And you're right, though. I don't think we're looking at any of, at least right now, a situation where we're going to see a Brian Callahan, removed from his job, or even a Rand Carthon. But I think, Will, when the season is over, there's going to be a lot of reevaluating and seeing, what really did work, what didn't work, and then what could be fixable, or what do you think is not fixable? And that's a lot of conversation that has to be had. I'm interested to see what moves will be made.
Well, last night, Bengals get the win over the Cowboys 27-20. You got a Cincinnati team that is still somehow kind of alive, coming to Nissan Stadium this weekend, and they win this game because of a special teams error for Dallas late in the game, which also should challenge you this Sunday.
Man, when it comes to special teams, we've had the conversations about it here, and they've had issues where it's affected the game and caused them to possibly, lose some of these games that they've lost. And you see it last night in Dallas, where that's a franchise that has a ton of parts that just can't put it together. So it's happening all over the league. But as for the Cincinnati Bengals, Will, them coming into here this weekend, interested to see, what this is like for Callahan this week, and preparing for, you can't let the emotions get in the way. That has to be completely pushed out of the picture. But there is a lot of familiarity, and I'm curious of how the preparation goes this week for a team that he's very familiar with.
Yeah, so Nick Vigil deflected the Bengals punt right after the 2-minute warning. A Dallas corner then muffed his scoop attempt. The Bengals recovered it, giving Cincinnati a chance to score 3 plays later on a 40-yard pass from Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase, or, if you were watching on ESPN Plus, a pass to Lisa Simpson, who ran all the way down the sideline for a touchdown.
How much did you watch of that?
I did not watch any of it, but I watched. It's one of those situations where if I really wanted to see it, I can go to the social media clips, and the social media clips were everywhere.
Yep.
And it was actually funnier and more entertaining than I expected. I thought it was kind of cool.
I know I saw some clips on SportsCenter in how they did the highlights compared to the real highlights, and I thought it was really entertaining. And like you said, any kind of new fan you can bring in, that's what the NFL is trying to do this year.
The best part of it was Ralph with the touchdown right by the pylon. And Drew Carter, who is a great play-by-play broadcaster, said,
Drew Carter,
he's not in danger, he's in the end zone.
I knew you would love him, but he was the most driest person.
Oh, was he really?
He was the worst person for that broadcast. Mina was great, Orlovsky was great. All of his jokes were unlandable. Anything he tried to do, it was
play-by-play guy. That's how most of us are wired.
He was awful. They should have got a comedian to do it.
He's actually really, I worked with him at News 2 from afar because he worked in Birmingham. He's really funny, actually. So I wonder if he tried to tone it down.
It might have been late. I saw the second half. I didn't get to see the first half. So the second half was very dry. I expected a little bit more from them.
But you might have been good in the part.
Maybe I could have played a character. I don't know if I could have called the game, but it would have been fun.
It was cool, though.
He's a Syracuse guy, too. Well, I mean, like 90% of people that are on the 4-letter network, he's a Syracuse guy. But I think he's quite good.
He is. Again, Drew Carter, shout out.
I refuse to criticize play-by-play broadcasters publicly. I'll just do it in group text.
Exactly.
Not really. No, it was cool. I thought the game itself, too. I mean, I had the take a couple weeks ago. Like, every primetime game is either in SoFi Stadium, the Roomba in Las Vegas, Dallas Cowboys Stadium, or insert other NFC East team that isn't good here.
Exactly.
And that is literally 90% of primetime games. And then Thursday, we've got LA San Fran this week. So that fills the other category of just 49ers versus blank. With those two teams.
I was going to say, too, a 49ers team that is clearly not had great luck this season.
Yeah,
and
finally got it back against the Bears. They just wish they could play the Bears every week.
Exactly. Can we just do that? Because that division is still kind of wonky over there with Seattle leading right now. But, you know, anything can happen with the Rams, too. So
615-737-1045. We are live from Toy Field, presented by First Horizon Bank, inside Gate 6 at Nissan Stadium. I came down Korean Vets. I went around that direction. You got signs that are everywhere right there. The construction, it is confusing. It is tricky. So if you come from the city side of it, you come down the Korean Vets Bridge, you take that first left right there, and then go all the way around by the river, parallel right there inside Gate 6. You can't miss us. The signs are all the way out there, and it'll be very easy for you with our entire crew. Building a field of toys to benefit Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels program. We are asking for your help. Pick up an extra new unwrapped toy or gift for a senior. Bring it today to Toy Field to help fulfill the dreams of thousands of children in need this holiday season. Coming up, Brian Callahan. He regretted some of his comments on Sunday afternoon. We'll play you the audio of what he had to say yesterday. Plus, look who's here.
It's Santa Claus.
Oh, actually, never mind. We'll talk to him
Santa
later. Jackson, go to break. It's RKW 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's Will Bowling to all my facility managers out there. Is your HVAC system ready to keep up with winter's chill? Well, whether you're looking for an upgrade for your facility or needing maintenance before you turn the temperature up, the team at Lee Company is here to help. For over 80 years, their expert team has been here to make your life easier and keep your place of business running efficiently year-round. And you know as well as I do, the time to do things like this, the time to make sure everything's working properly, or when you have mornings where it's 58 degrees, like today, and not 18, maybe like it was last week. But either way, available 24/7, 365. You got to call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000. No matter what your problem is or when you have it, they're open 24/7, 365. Lee Company is always there to make sure things are running the way they're supposed to. You can also contact them online at leecompany.com. That's 615-567-1000. Professional HVAC solutions for any type of facility. That's Lee Company. All you need. Tuesday morning, RKW live from Nissan Stadium, Toy Field. Our 17th annual Toy Field here from Nissan Stadium, presented by First Horizon Bank. Today, inside Gate 6 until 6. Will Bowling, Kayla Anderson, and we're pleased to be joined this morning by Ramone Foster.
Yeah.
Welcome.
It's always me. Okay?
It is
It's always
It is
me,
always you.
man. I'm trying to be better with my time. Hey, I got out at a really good time, okay? I did.
You ran into traffic, you said?
Yeah, I ran
My
into
goodness.
bad traffic.
What they all say.
Bert said it was something that happened. All I saw was like 2 undercover cars, and it was like 5 marked cars surrounding this one vehicle. So
yeah, coming up on the split, there was a pretty bad accident when I first came through. So I don't know if there was.
we come from different directions, though.
Oh, well, then it was a different
I came
accident.
from 65 North.
Well,
So yeah, okay.
You never know what will happen in Nashville.
Look, he
Five
tried
something in
to
the
he tried to demerit me.
no, I tried to help you. I was trying to lie for you, teacher. Like, there was a fight in the bathroom, and he was trying to separate the guys. He wasn't doing anything. He wasn't smoking cigs in the bathroom with his friends. He definitely wasn't doing
Doing
that.
hood rat things with his friends.
Exactly. Speaking of ratchet things, though, Bert, you'll appreciate this, though. So I usually walk like the stadium and hit the tunnel or something like that whenever I show up to the stadium every single time for Toy Drive. By the way, bring a gift. Bring Toy Field.
For sure.
Bring something
Another
today,
demand.
okay? But what had happened was
What had
I
happened
walked through
was-
the tunnel, and for the first time, I was just like, man, that's a whole lot of field out there. Boy, you can do some stuff on it. And then I proceeded to look up. In each tunnel, I feel like there's a camera.
Yeah.
And it was staring me dead in my face. And I say, you know what? Nope, there's no room for illegal activity going on in Nissan Stadium, okay? If you was thinking about being like bring your high school sweetheart out here or something like that.
Who was thinking about that?
Listen, this is a big old open space,
Maybe Bob?
okay? Yeah, maybe. That's all I'm saying. Look,
be.
I check places for just entryways every once in a while, but this one you won't get in. It's too many cameras in here, y'all, so don't
So
think
no
about
running the stairs either.
I mean, somebody might want to come in here and do a workout, right?
That's a popular
Somebody
thing.
might want to.
Sure.
They might want to have
Come
a
by the Toy
shotgun
Field.
wedding.
Come by the Toy Field. We'll do yoga on the field. Like, what are we?
Shotgun wedding in Nashville, that is a thing.
That's what I'm saying. They might want to have a quick wedding on the field.
Goodness sakes.
Look, I'm just here to tell you, security is tight in here. Okay, you will not be going in to any
I was
random
so
gates
worried.
around here.
I was so worried. Breaking: NFL Stadium has cameras that don't allow you to go on the field.
That's funny.
This is not your high school. This is not Ripley High School.
Well, our rivals did that to us.
Oh,
Yeah.
did they?
A little
You're
bit
still
of
scarred.
throwback, but I'm back, man. If y'all coming in from 65 North, man, give yourself a little bit more time, though. Seriously,
We
For
have
sure.
decided to fine you a toy per minute.
It's good, though.
I figured.
Give it
So
back.
you were 11 minutes late. We need 11 toys from you today.
All right, I'll get my boot thing and pick up something. and bring
Okay.
it over.
Yeah, no, don't punish Keisha for your shortcomings,
Hey.
for your tardiness. This ain't Keisha's problem. This is a
He's like,
Ramone
Keisha,
Foster
got it.
problem.
Listen to
I'm gonna
me.
need one of those cameras you're talking about to follow you around to head to an establishment like Target or Walmart, and you're gonna need to get a full cart. We ain't picking up a basket. We are getting a full cart, one with all 4 wheels at work, because you're gonna need all 4 of them to lug around all the 11 toys that you owe the people of Nashville and Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels.
Hey, hear me out, man. Look, once we got past her birthday in late November, it is dad season, okay?
Okay.
It is Christmas.
Is it
plus
Father's Day every weekend again?
Yes.
Ron
It's-
did come up
Okay.
with
Plus,
that.
plus, my birthday is coming up. All right, look, I handled everything up to this point. I got a sugar mama now. Do
Look,
you understand?
no. The only father,
Yeah.
the only father that's
So does Bert.
the only father that is being recognized this month is Joseph. Okay, we can worry about you in June.
Oh, boy.
We're worried about the carpenter himself. It is Jesus' birthday, not Ramone Foster's. All right, we already had Keisha's, so we'll give you June. But for now, you're going to need to come correct on being 11 minutes late today.
Look, I don't plan on lifting the feather around this piece, okay? Like, the only thing that I've lifted as of late has
Lifting
been a
a-
credit card. You hear me? From here on out,
That's heavy.
I'm listen, it's platinum. What I'm
Of course he did add that in.
Oh, man.
Yo, man.
Heavy is the card
P.S. is
that
platinum.
fits in Ramone Foster's wallet. Not heavy as the crown, heavy as the crown. Kirby Allen Kirby is taken away. He has
Kirby has taken
confiscated
away
the
his
microphone from
microphone
Ramone
duties.
Foster.
Give it back, Kirby. I
Oh,
want this
man.
job. I need this job.
He's got to support the platinum, baby.
Big Orange Mac tweets at us, Ramone advocating for premarital relations at an empty NFL stadium was not a mid-2024 bingo card. We are trying to do things for the kids. Ramone's like, hey, if you want to sneak out somewhere, I wouldn't do it here. Wink.
Bert, I let it be known.
Good
Look, you
Lord.
can't sneak on this field. I hit the tunnels over there, and there's a camera looking you dead in your face, baby. Ain't no sneaking on, man.
He's surprised
Security,
to learn
we
that
need that
NFL
video.
stadiums.
Yeah, right. What were you planning on doing?
Now,
Ron?
I'm
It's
not
all
the
right.
problem. Bert's the one that said, hey, look, I'm going to need that video.
We're going to delete that.
That's true.
Okay, Kim.
I love
Never
it.
mind.
All right.
Never
Glad
mind.
you're here. Glad we can get things started.
Look at Bert trying to be Ray J out here this early.
Oh, no. Hey, now.
Hey,
So here,
hey.
this is what we were talking about when we said, as bad as the team is, we're still going to have fun on this show. So
Oh, yeah.
let's transition. Brian
What our guy
Callahan.
say on Sunday, Ron Slay? What he say? We got to
We're going to win the tailgate.
Exactly.
God, we sound like Ole Miss fans. That's what they say.
They do a good job of that.
Man, we sound like these college football programs that ain't won nothing.
I'm
That's like,
done punching
Ole
Will.
Ole Miss never won, never lost the tailgate. Well, you never won anything meaningful either, Lane. But at least you got chandeliers on your tailgate tents.
my
That's who we are
gosh.
now.
We are.
That's sad.
I'm done punching you. I feel like I've hit you too many
No,
times.
I'm tough. I'm good.
I'm cackling a little bit way too
Don't worry about it.
Ooh, don't worry about it. I
Don't worry about
wasn't
us, we
familiar
are.
with your game. Let's carry on.
All right. Brian Callahan's opening statement yesterday was a long one. We're not going to play all of it for you because he starts by giving the customary injury updates, the logistical concerns that he always begins press conferences with. And on Sunday afternoon, if you listen to us or any other show yesterday, you know he opened his press conference after the Jags game by saying a lot of positive things. Well, yesterday he walked that back a little bit.
After the game, after watching the tape, it's the loss was tough to swallow. There was a lot of things, and I know maybe the choice of words on something being positive in a 10-6 loss. I get that that's not well received, but I challenged the team to do a lot of things in this game the night before the game, really sort of across the board at all positions. And they really answered the bell in a lot of the phases and a lot of the things I had challenged them on. And that part to me was really encouraging because to do the things that were asked and rise to the occasion in a lot of areas that I asked of them was something that was positive to me. And at the end of the day, how do you have so many positive things over the course of the game? You hold a team to 0 points through 3 quarters. It's our second lowest rushing total defensively that we've allowed. We rushed for 126 yards and 5 a carry. We had 4 penalties. We had 2 turnovers. We didn't turn the ball over. We were 50% on third down. I mean, there was all these things that would point to a game that you should have a chance to win. And we had chances, but the difference was for us in the game is we had really, let's call it 4 critical plays offensively that we needed to execute in a critical moment, and we did not. And that's the difference in the game. It's a game that had a chance to be a 20-10 game if we execute at best. If all the things work in our favor, that's where you end up. But we didn't do a good enough job in those critical moments of making the plays that are necessary to win a tight game. And that's the hardest part for me is to sit here and watch the tape and see so many things that I asked of our team and they delivered on, and then to see that we just, at the end of the day, it comes down to 3 or 4 plays in critical moments that we didn't execute. And that's hard because I think that we're still trying to build a program, and still trying to build something that's sustainable, that we can try to continue to improve on, and I look for the things that would show me that that's happening, and those are the things that I concern myself with, on top of obviously winning the football game. But there's a lot of other things that I have to look at and judge and determine where's good and where isn't, and where it has to be improved. So that's ultimately where I've come after reflection and watching the game a couple of times in all 3 phases.
So that's Brian Callahan yesterday, guys. There's a lot there to unpack, first of all, but what stands out?
How adamant he is about the offense coming up short. I think him saying a lot without saying, owning it, like that's on me, like that's my offense, that's my DNA. He said a lot of things that I feel like, honestly, it came up short, but I feel like he feels as if the plan was good. the execution of his plan hasn't been carried out the way he wanted to for I almost feel like the entirety of this year. I feel like the proof of concept is very, very strong, and they, for whatever reason, have been misfiring, man. And that's a tough place to be because, again, we always say usually in the league, well, the tape ain't as good as it seems, even if you blow somebody out 42-0. And it ain't as bad as it seems either in losses where you get blown out or you lose 6-10. You just hear the despair in his voice a little bit about we should be better, and it's not where he thought it would be.
Yeah, I'm glad he did explain maybe why, in his mind, he started the presser off with the positives, because I think he was a little hyper-focused on some of those things with, like, the third down, converting on 50%, being able to eliminate, the run on the other side of the ball. It's almost like, guys, he was so focused on those things, improving the penalties, which they did. And I give them all credit for that. But the problem is it's almost like you're thinking so detailed on certain things you have to fix that's in your mind, that the obvious things, that's like scoring in the red zone and beating a team like the Jags. That's the thing that sucks, is in the end they didn't accomplish the all together goal. So I get what he's saying, but still, like, I feel like sometimes he's focused on so many little details improving, and you have to be, but then it kind of overshadows the whole picture.
Yeah, it does. And again, he's the head honcho of all this right now, and especially whenever the offense was supposed to change from what we thought it was going to. And maybe it was a little bit I'll throw myself in there, expecting it to just go that much different in 2024, considering it's always been 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I feel like it's okay to say we're going to be a run-first team. Heck, well, what did Heupel say with his offense? Oh, no. We're still going to run the ball. I just think we were painted the picture as if this was going to be, crossing routes and transcontinental touchdowns and go routes down the field.
Back.
I mean, that's what I thought.
Transcontinental.
You know what I'm saying? And to get to this point right now where you just don't have the talent, and a lot of coaches can't tell those truths. Right. They don't want to say those things because it makes you seem weak. You come out too positive, people attack that too, and probably rightfully so in that moment. No, it's bad. Say it's bad. And yesterday, it seems as if he had a little bit of reflection and be like, yeah, we're not where I expected us to. I need to be better. Like, the only thing he didn't, and of course he said inside the building, but I'm sure like that the need to say publicly, I need to be better. I need to set this team up a little bit more. And again, I feel as if he said, and I said it a second ago, the plan has been good. Mm-hmm. It's y'all that's not executing it the way I want to, because that was a touchdown to Chig. Is that on coach? Sure.
No.
Or is that on the
player? On Will Levis.
That's on Will Levis. Absolutely.
He can't say that, though.
So
you're right.
Why are the Titans consistently a few plays away from winning? They're 2-6 in one-score games this year.
Why? It's as simple as we said it a couple of minutes ago. They're not as talented as some. And I do think this too, when it comes down to the depth, the experience that they had too. Like, I feel like everything that they have tried to hide and mask, Jeff said it on Sunday. Jeff said, Jeffrey Simmons, we young.
Yep.
We got a lot of new people on this team, and as a team, you minimize that stuff so much until it does start to affect you. If this was a, what are they, 10-3? I mean,
3-10.
3-10. Okay,
just a bit.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
If this was, let's go 8-5 team.
Yeah.
This would be conversation about coach of the year and how he's turned this over with so many young guys. You got a rookie left tackle. You got a rookie cornerback playing. You've been without your starting corners and stuff like that. That's coach of the year conversation stuff right there.
Well, let's just flip the one-score games, right?
Yeah.
Let's say they're 6-2 in one-score games instead of in 2-6. Then at this point, what? They're 9-4.
Yeah.
9-4.
That's wild to think about.
You asked the original question, why?
Yeah.
Okay, the youth getting worn down, not enough talent.
Yeah.
And focus and execution. I think, like it's a laundry list. Well, but like those
are the two biggies. And I also think, Ramone, like newness to everything, because you flipped the roster, you brought in a brand new coaching staff in every aspect. Like, obviously there's a little carryover from staffers, but for the most part, you have a new head coach, a new defensive coordinator, a new special teams coach, all the assistants, so there's a lot of newness too. So Callahan's also figuring out his coaching style throughout this whole season. And when you don't have, like you said, the upper talent necessarily, or you have more of the youth where they're also learning how to win and how to sustain throughout a season, because we know J.C. Latham is probably hitting a bit of a wall, I would say. So I think it's a combo of all of those things, guys, why they just can't win those close games.
It'd be 7-6 if you flip the one score.
Even more so, Will, looking at the losses, execution. It's just simply that. Chicago game, flip 6, right? You look at the week after that, the Jets game, another backwards. Like, this is execution. This is on the field types of stuff. That's where I will say there is pressure on Callahan and his squad, especially after a loss like Sunday, correct? Like, when you're bad and you're playing other bad teams and you feel like you're better, you're supposed to beat them. And that didn't happen.
So Brian Callahan was also asked about the other plays that were not as obvious that he felt like decided this game. We know 2 of them. Obviously, the miss to Chikakonkwo that was supposed to go to him and instead went to Nick Vannett in the end zone. We know, obviously, about the 4th down play to Nick Westbrook-Akine that went off his hands and wasn't brought in. What about the other 2 plays? If Brian is saying there were 3 or 4 plays that decided the game, here's what he said yesterday.
The play before the 4th down to Calvin, where we get the ball in his hands in the flat and got a chance to turn up and get a first down. That would have been huge. We'd be first in goal inside the 5-yard line at that point. And that's a good place to be. And then instead now it puts us in a 4th down spot. But I thought had a chance to catch the ball and turn up. I thought Will maybe could have been a touch earlier. And Calvin just sort of lost where he was on the field a little bit. And but again, that's a big play. He's got the ball in his hands with a chance to get the first, and we don't. So puts us in a 4th down spot. Then again, we failed to convert the 4th down. So that one, and then there's a 3rd and 6 sack, the one that we gave up on the right side, where we're in the protection slide that direction. The nickel comes off the edge. Nick's got to block that guy. It's a nickel off the edge. We got to block him, and then downfield we got Chig for what's probably a 30-yard gain, and you got Calvin for a touchdown. And so those are two guys kind of wide open on a big 3rd down as we cross midfield. That again, just an overall execution with a chance to convert that 3rd down in a big spot for an explosive gain on either side. That we fail in the protection element of it was disappointing. But those were probably those couple of plays were the biggest sequence plays that. We left on the field that had chances to help us win the game.
The one he mentions, the one of 2 sacks that Levis took on Sunday, I mean, again, it's right tackle.
Yep.
It's Nicholas Petit-Frere. It's the position they can't fix.
Yeah, and that's all he had to do was redirect them too. And I say all he had to do because I've been in that spot before, to where blitzing guys off the edge, and you know what you do? You bang them in the back of their shoulder pads, or as they try to run by you. Right. He didn't even touch the guy, didn't even pinch him. Okay, and that right there is when it becomes very problematic, man. Like again, you can't continue to have the same problem. Find me a new one. Is what coach is saying, but you hear like the way he's describing that. Like, it's execution.
Yeah. And that's something they've dealt with, like you said, all year long. They've tried multiple people. I think it is what it is now on that side, and it might prevent them from winning another game this season. I mean, that's just how bad it is. And the next thing they can do is find someone in the draft or, bring some in from free agency they think is going to be able to do the part. But it's got to be fixed.
It does. I think ultimately the biggest reason why the Titans are 2-6 in one-score games is because of their quarterback. I think the quarterback is what dictates a lot of the critical plays that decide football games. Look at the team that is dominant in one-score games this year and tell me who their quarterback is. It's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And I know that's way too simple of an approach to it. There are more nuances to it. And obviously, I mean, if Nicholas Petit-Frere just touches a nickel blitzer, then maybe the Titans have another touchdown in this game, and it's a completely different story. And we're talking about, they grinded it out and they found a way. But I think Will Levis is good when his primary option is consistently open. And I think when the game plan works and things go perfectly according to his script, he's a pretty good quarterback. When you ask Will Levis to go out there and go to plan B and make a play beyond what is originally asked of him, he either turns it over or takes a sack consistently. And that, to me, separates the good teams and the bad teams in the National Football League, because all these teams are talented. All these teams are good. It's why the 32nd team can beat the first team on any given day. There's not a big difference between great and bad. in the National Football League. The difference is about 6 to 8 plays a game. And do you have the quarterback that can take nothing and turn it into something? And right now, the Titans are not consistently getting it.
Know what it sounds like folks is doing? Settling. You can't settle in sports, Will.
And I think we hoped the last 4 weeks would lead to more explosiveness and more making a play. And all right, let's pass algebra, and then we can go to calculus. We got demoted back down to pre-algebra on Sunday against the Jacksonville
And it's
Jaguars.
the game they did it into because he had opportunity, a real one there.
It's one of the worst defenses in the league. That's right. 615-737-1045 as we broadcast live today from Toy Field, presented by First Horizon Bank, inside Gate 6 at Nissan Stadium. While you are out doing your holiday shopping, pick up an extra new unwrapped toy or a gift for a senior. Gloves, winter hats, warm things, blankets, Foster says. All these things are great. Gate 6 at Nissan Stadium, that's where you can come see us. Coming up last night after the Bengals beat the Cowboys, Joe Burrow made a proclamation about someone he thinks the Bengals are bringing back next year. This might pertain to the Tennessee Titans. Got that for you coming up next.
Is your concrete in need of repair? Maybe your sidewalks is shifting, your driveway is cracked and sinking, or your porch steps, maybe they've moved a little bit. Shifting concrete can create a dangerous situation and trip hazard around your home. It's also a big eyesore. This is Ramone Foster's. Whatever is going on with your concrete, call United Structural Systems. Ask them about the polyurethane foam injections. That's right. You've heard about USS for a long time. The same company that's provided superior foundation repair and waterproofing to Middle Tennessee since 1994. Well, guess what? They can fix your sunken or settling concrete. USS uses polyurethane foam injections to lift and repair your sinking concrete in a matter of minutes. Lifted concrete can be walked on immediately and even driven on after 30 minutes. So don't go through the long, expensive process of ripping out and replacing concrete. Call for their free estimate from the people that I trust. Go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Or you can call them at 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Live from Nissan Stadium, our 17th annual Toy Field, presented by First Horizon Bank. Parking and curbside drop-off here at Nissan Stadium, available in Lot H in front of Gate 6 on the West Plaza. Drive by, drop off your unwrapped toy or gift for a senior to benefit the Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels program and help us create miracle moments for families in our community. Guys, last night, Monday Night Football, Bengals 27, Cowboys 20, a special teams just gaff. I mean, it does not get worse than what the Cowboys did late in this game, allowing the Bengals to win. And Joe Burrow post-game says discussions are ongoing with T. Higgins.
Ooh.
Says, quote, I'm confident that I think we're going to do what it takes to bring T back. I know that I'm going to do what it takes to get him back, and so is he. We've had those talks. Those are going to be off-season discussions, but I think we're excited about that opportunity.
Most times when the quarterback starts advocating for you, it's usually going to work out because the franchise like to keep the quarterback happy.
For sure.
I saw my former quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, do the exact same thing. Heck, he did it for me.
Fair enough.
So anytime they speak, usually when you're that type of guy, you're going back. Now, again, it depends on if somebody, well, I know you mentioned the Titans may be involved. It depends on what the market also suggests, too. But that hometown discount will usually be given if you know you're going to get your targets.
Yep.
Yeah, they work well together there, too, in terms of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. In terms complementary, when they shut down Jamar, T's there, and he's been able to get the job done when that does happen this year.
No doubt. Not like they got anything going on like what they got in Philly. I mean,
oh, my God. A.J. Brown? Right. Woo! Drama in
Everyone,
A.J.?
every good NFL team needs a diva wide receiver.
Oh, yeah. And he
You
is
gotta have
it.
one.
He is
You got to
it.
have one.
You do have to
And
have
AJ
one.
at least backs it up on the field when he does have drama on
Right.
the field.
What did you say? That means start him in your fantasy this upcoming weekend.
Start him every. If you're not
Exactly.
starting AJ Brown in your fantasy football, then I don't know what to tell you.
But Will, there's I'm confused though by the statement by Joe Burrow though.
What's that?
Why is he out here, as the kids like to say, capping for T. Higgins when you got the best, second best, or first best wide receiver in the world without a
He
contract?
needs a new contract,
Okay,
yeah.
no low stilts.
You're right.
Yeah, like what are we doing with Jamar Chase?
Yeah.
I'm more worried about him, or they have the shield of the franchise
Right?
tag of him.
I'd get up there and say,
also.
pay him his money.
He deserved that this year, and man, for the sake of himself and his family moving forward, listen to me. I hope and pray he goes Brent, like the big old semi trucks that are Brinks trucks, okay? And I just want him to park him in front of their facility.
He deserved
and say, whatever y'all did to me last year and tried to offer me, hey, last year's price is not this year's price.
True. Leads the NFL in touchdowns.
He's impressive.
One of the few that has more touchdowns than Nick Westbrook-Akine this year.
That's right. I saw that list.
What did they expect him to do this year?
Exactly what he's doing.
Score touchdowns.
Man, I don't think there's any
Score
surprise
points.
about what he's doing. To me, though, like with that organization and with the Cincinnati franchise and the way they spend their money, or maybe I should say the way they don't spend their money, I'll believe it when I see it. When I see both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase with new contracts.
That's where I'm at with it.
I know they paid
Yeah.
Joe Burrow. I'll believe it when I see it. Maybe the owner, it is a new day up there. They're actually willing to spend money and be competent. I will believe it when I see it.
They're also going to have to spend something to help their defense because their defense has been the Achilles heel of that team.
It's Trey Hendrickson, and then
Yeah.
after that, it's boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, Trey Hendrickson and the Temptations is what it is
Yes.
right now. Like it's bad because they've got some guys on their team that have names that you know of. Like they got some D tackles, they got some DN. Sam Hubbard is still there. Like they got some guys that have played significant football, and for whatever reason they cannot get off the field. Man, I'm sure Danny, our resident Bengals fan, who is going to be, I'm sure, very chesty this week with the Bengals coming into town. I'm sure he's got deeper answers for him, but like. Everything that I saw is they can't stop a nosebleed as the teams get rolling on them, and that sucks to waste away a quarterback who's killing it. And everybody on the broadcast is saying it. You see his numbers, you see everything else. Like, he ain't the reason that they're losing, is my point. And they got to figure that thing out. And, of course, Orlando Brown Jr., like
those guys are kind of the exception to the rule that you have to have good quarterback play to be good in one-score games. They stink in one-score games, and Joe Burrow has been MVP level.
Yeah, he said he's playing his best football this year.
Nothing about Cincinnati makes sense to me in that regard. They are a complete outlier in the context of having a great quarterback, yet still not being able to put it together. But I'm still not quitting the Bengals because if they go on a run and find their way in, tell me which team in the NFL wants to have Cincinnati at home in the first round of the AFC playoffs. There ain't a single one of them that's going to raise their hands.
And you know what weekend this is?
No. Okay. I mean, divisional opponents, sure. Maybe you guys are more confident because you hate them so much.
You know what this weekend
I'm
is? They come to the Titans. It's get right for everybody. So
Okay.
I'm just stating the obvious
right
on
Titans.
this.
Who's to say?
Defense not playing well?
Well, Trey Hendrickson going up against Nicholas Petit-Frere is going to be a crime scene. Good thing those cameras are out there that Ramone scouted earlier to see what Trey Hendrickson's going to do to Nicholas Petit-Frere this week.
I initially
worried about it.
I wasn't super high on him as a rusher because I used to be like, why is he so special? No, absolutely not. Watching his game over the years and stuff like that, he one of them. And they should have paid him also this. That's another guy that the Bengals should have paid this offseason.
But where's the money?
The way they do it.
Kayla.
It's the way the Bengals
Those three
operate.
letters ain't short on it, okay? The NFL is.
They act like they are over there, right?
Not short on it.
615-737-1045 live from Toy Field, presented by First Horizon Bank today inside Gate 6 at Nissan Stadium. I see News 2 represented.
Yes.
Our good friend Peyton Kennedy.
Peyton Kennedy
is
over
here.
there. You mean your girlfriend?
I do meet my girlfriend. Yes. I do meet my girlfriend. Peyton Kennedy is here for News 2. You can come by and see us Gate 6 on the city side, the west side of Nissan Stadium. Coming up, some college football headlines. A Heisman finalist list is out, and another guy we thought might be a Heisman finalist is out, maybe for the season. See what I did there? We got that for you coming up next.
Hey, it's Kayla Anderson telling you about my friends at O'Charlie's that will actually be out here at Toy Field today. They were born right here in Nashville. They've been serving up Southern hospitality since 1971. They've got several locations around Middle Tennessee if you want to look up what's nearest to you. And they're going to give you that food experience without handing out the big bill in the end. Maybe you're thinking about taking the family out to eat after the kids' activities today. O'Charlie's has you covered. They're going to offer 2 of its family-style meals, just $25. Monday through Thursday, you can choose between their tasty chicken tenders or their chicken Alfredo. And again, it's just $25 to feed the entire family. I'm telling you, if you want more bang for your buck, and when it comes to grub, you can check out O'Charlie's. Get more flavor, more choices, more value all day, every day at O'Charlie's.
7 o'clock. Good morning from Nissan Stadium for Toy Field. I am Robert Walsh. You had Monday Night Football last night, whether you were watching the traditional broadcast or the Simpsons broadcast. It was a better game than we expected. Bengals win one on the road against the Cowboys 27-20. Late in the game, Cowboys blocked a Bengals punt, but Cincinnati was able to recover it and then hit Jamar Chase for the 40-yard touchdown. Cincinnati improves to 5-8 while the Cowboys fall to 5-8. And if you haven't donated to Toy Field yet before, I encourage you to take some time, come out, see the season of giving that we're doing over here. Bring out a gift for a kid, a senior, and help us celebrate. We're at Gate 6 at Nissan Stadium. You can park in Lot H. We look forward to seeing you guys here. We're out here all day. RKW, Buck Rising, Cover 2, 3HL. Everybody come see us out here. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And the show goes into hour number 2, 7 a.m. this morning, live from Toy Field at Nissan Stadium. Gate 6, where you find us this morning. Come bring an unwrapped toy or a gift for a senior while you are out doing your holiday shopping. And we will be here until 6 p.m. The weather getting colder as the day goes. Usually we are the ones that are the ones that have to brave it out here in the winter coats and the super, super cold weather. It is lovely out here in a foggy and rainy downtown Nashville. Ramone Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, Robert Walsh makes us go here in person. Of course, with Kirby Allen Kirby, who is brandishing Pepsi number 3.
He's got 8 left.
If you had 3, I never doubted that. It's a full 12-pack every time with Kirby. Don't worry. I'm very familiar with this game. Jackson Williams is our producer back in our downtown studios, and this breakfast by Pig and Pie.
Oh, my goodness.
It's outstanding.
It just hits. It's like a little bacon egg taco.
It's breakfast
with
taco.
hash browns.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out to John
bacon.
Hamilton, man. This is phenomenal.
Man.
So simple, but yet so good.
Yep.
And holiday season is here, so you can make it easy with Pig and Pie Catering. Pig and Pie is a full-service caterer that has been serving Middle Tennessee for over 25 years. From barbecue to breakfast, Pig and Pie does it all. Online at pigandpie.net and on Facebook at Pig and Pie Catering. We appreciate them.
Very tasty.
We got Heisman finalists.
Yes.
But it's not really much of a competition. Congrats in advance to Travis Hunter on winning the Heisman Trophy. He is joined by Dylan Gabriel, Ashton Genty, and Cam Ward. No surprises with the Heisman Committee, who did their jobs unlike a lot of the awards committees, who did a bad job of their own awards being handed out this year.
Yeah, for sure, man. Great group for a year that really had no, it wasn't like, I guess, a high-class quarterback that showed up. You had a running back. Oh, well, yeah.
It's supposed to be Carson Beck.
Supposed to be Carson.
And or Quinn Ewers at the beginning of the season.
Quinn Ewers definitely had the media run, didn't he? But, yeah, it was the first year I feel like a running back had actually won it in a while. You have a guy that's a two-way player right now. Those, to me, are my top 2. Although I would say I'm sure that Oregon crowd and Nike Money has a hard conversation about what they got going on with their quarterback, too. I know my thing is that the push to actually make him more relevant, I would have thought they'd have either done more or he'd be recognized a little bit more because of their brands. Like, those are, you have to admit, those are 2 strong brands. Oregon and what they are, and, of course, Nike. I did expect a little bit more from their quarterback.
Yeah, I'm just actually relieved that a quarterback is not going to win this year.
That's true.
Because it has been really the quarterback award. And they say it's the Heisman, right? Given to the best football player in the country.
Yep.
But I think for the last several years, we've just assumed it was going to be a quarterback. And
Except Devontae Smith.
Yeah, right. And Devontae Smith did kind of buck that trend a little bit ago. But we have to go all the way back to Charles Woodson in 1997, the Michigan
Don't remind us.
cornerback who obviously played 2 ways to get that type of player. It's so rare, and that's why I think for me, even though I think Ashton Genty has had an incredible season, Travis Hunter has got to win this thing. It's only so many times a player like this comes around.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Charles Woodson shouldn't have won it also. Definitely shouldn't have won it.
I also wouldn't be shocked if Genty did still go get it.
There's no chance.
Better team.
It's over.
A lot of stats. You think it's no.
No, look at what Vegas.
I wouldn't.
Look at what Vegas says.
I just don't trust the committee these days. Is all I'm telling you.
Well, this is as big of a committee as it.
What we got going on there? Yeah, I think Brent said he's
Brent
a voter.
and Don.
Brent and Don are both.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah,
I gotta figure out what's going on.
Brent's had it, I think, for a long time, he said.
Has he really?
Don, I'm assuming, too, probably since News 2. Corey Curtis at News 2 has a vote. I've run into a lot of people who are Heisman voters.
Travis Hunter is minus 2,500
Oh, well, never mind.
to win the Heisman Trophy. It is not even close. Yeah, it's going to be. I think the only question at this point is, does Travis Hunter have the most overwhelming margin of victory in the history of the Heisman Trophy? I believe that record is still held by Joe Burrow.
Okay. Was that the one? I didn't know that.
Burrow was cool as heck with his, though, too. Like, you knew he was getting
Absolutely.
And we know Travis Hunter's getting it at this point.
All
So, Travis Hunter, not just a cardio king, he legitimately is a Biletnikoff-level wide receiver and a Thorpe Award-level defensive back, despite the fact that the Thorpe Award has nothing to do with him. Those frauds over there with the Thorpe Award committee. Leads the Big 12, 92 catches, 14 receiving touchdowns, second with 1,152 yards. His 21 receiving plays of 20-plus yards leads the nation. I was totally wrong because I did not think Colorado would be good enough as a team for him to have a chance at this award. Colorado's resurgence this year under Deion Sanders is one of the best stories in college football. And them taking the next step and becoming competent beyond all of the chaos that surrounds them every single place that they go, it was a really good coaching job this season by Deion Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, overwhelmingly to me, the number one quarterback in this draft class, and he's going to have the Heisman Trophy winner. Impressive year in Boulder, and it's going to end with a Heisman.
Yeah, and he did it in his first year in the Big 12 because, they switched over this year from the Pac-12, and I think there were a lot of doubters, including myself, in terms of how it would go this season because last year it just bottomed out after a couple games. Yeah. But this is also why Travis Hunter is in the Heisman contention too, because he is clearly a big reason why this team was able to do what it did this year.
Yeah, for sure. I look at this season that Deion's had. You mentioned, I didn't have him on my radar either, Will. As far as being
around, a playoff contender
competing in the Big 12 and how they had gone about getting guys in and everything else. Shout out to Prime because I'm looking at his records right now. I think this year at 9-3 in a regular season is more impressive than what he did at Jackson State when he went 12-1 and he won championships and stuff like that, because I feel like he had to navigate more treacherous waters, had to actually recruit a little bit different, and also he has at this point and will have a Heisman winner on his squad. That says a lot about what his growth is as a coach. I don't know how far he want to go with it, but the proof of concept that Deion Sanders is a valid coach, and not just because earlier I actually saw his high school that Shedeur was playing for played Knox Catholic. Mm-hmm. I had a homeboy that was coaching Knox Catholic. We playing prime team. We went up there just to watch the game, and it was the best athletes versus everybody else.
Yeah, and Catholic was down a little bit this year too.
They were, right? And you look at him now, it's just he ain't got the best athletes. He's just doing a coaching job. So a tip of the cap to that man. Yeah, for sure.
Well, there's a guy that was supposed to be a Heisman finalist who did not live up to expectations this year. Georgia quarterback Carson Beck injured his right elbow when he was hit while throwing in Saturday's SEC championship game. They are exploring treatment options with doctors. On3's got a report out there that it is a UCL injury for Carson Beck. It reminds me a little bit of what happened with Marcus Mariota with one of his elbow injuries here when he couldn't grip the football. Mm-hmm. And those elbow issues for quarterbacks, there is no timetable for his return because it is literally a matter, from what I understand, of getting your grip back.
Yeah. Sure.
Gunnar Stockton's the guy, I think, for Georgia moving forward. No timetable for Carson Beck's return. This is a really big test for Mike Bobo in that offense, who can now get out the Stetson Bennett plays again. Mm-hmm. Because Gunnar Stockton is a lot more athletic than Carson Beck. He's got a much different skill set, highly touted recruit coming out of high school. To me, guys, though, this is the effective NIL because you know who would be the next guy up at Georgia, maybe, if he hadn't gotten paid to go somewhere else?
Who?
Dylan Raiola.
That's right.
Dylan Raiola, who is committed to Georgia through the entire process last year, flipped to Nebraska, where he is a legacy. I mean, maybe Gunnar Stockton still beats him out, but you would at least have another 5-star option for this playoff run had Raiola not taken the money to go to Nebraska.
Are we missing something here, though, as it pertains to this? They have a guy on their team who's a 5-star plus guy, Jaden Rashada. Where is the conversation around him?
He came over from ASU?
ASU, yes, he did.
He's been committed to, he was committed to Florida at first, then the NIL stuff happens,
And they snuck him in.
Gunnar Stockton's been around longer. Redshirt sophomore.
So he's a redshirt
Year
sophomore.
3 in the program. So even if Raiola was there too, I mean, I think Gunnar Stockton was going to be the guy
Crowded
either
room,
way.
yeah.
And the way they spoke about him on the broadcast, like that dude that played in state championships, he's been that guy
next up.
for a while.
Wasn't phased, and I haven't loved what Bobo has done this year, but I did like how he was prepared. He prepared him
like
for
he
that
was waiting on him to come in the game,
and he was ready,
right? Yeah. I just thought, of course, with a 5-star guy in Jaden Rashada, he's younger. You're right than Gunnar Stockton is. And of course, I guess the size doesn't matter necessarily as much in that Georgia offense because we saw their old quarterback who was, 5'10" also, right?
That's right.
Stetson Bennett. So I just expected Jaden Rashada. It wouldn't shock me though going into it. The element of surprise they might have a package for a guy like him. Because Gunnar Stockton's got to protect himself. He got his face knocked off.
That's one of the hardest hits I've seen that was legal in so long.
Yeah. And
He took late.
You wonder, too, now, like with Carson Beck, if this is the end of his career, like, God, what a way to go out. Is not a great way.
I think it's the end of his career at
He won
Georgia.
the SEC championship.
Yeah.
I think it's the end of his career at Georgia, though.
Yeah. No, he'll go pro.
Yeah.
You think he's going pro?
I think so.
I'd come back for a year.
Really?
I transfer. Yeah, 100%.
He's a redshirt senior. How's he?
He's a redshirt senior? He that old?
You got the roster right in front of you.
What the heck?
I
was
know.
gonna say, but
he
he's
is that
done.
old, yeah.
Nah, he's cooked. He's done.
Exactly.
It ain't COVID years no more.
I mean, I guess
boy.
you could probably sue the NCAA the way Diego Pavia is and get a year.
He gonna win that
We're
case.
waiting on that, yeah.
No, I'll be surprised if he doesn't.
I'll be shocked.
I have
if he
no
don't.
insider info. I just have watched the NCAA lose every
That's
single
what I was
court
gonna
case that they've been in.
They just
man.
been getting bodied as of late. So, yeah.
Live inside Gate 6 at Nissan Stadium today. We are here until 6 p.m. for Toy Field, our 17th annual Toy Field Toy Drive. Breakfast is going courtesy of our good friends at Pig and Pie. The breakfast tacos are hitting this morning. So we are well fed and very happy to be here this morning. We want to see you benefiting the Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels program. Bring by an unwrapped new toy or a gift for a senior, no, not in high school, for elderly people.
Thank you.
I would feel like I have to specify that. That's scarves, gloves, blankets, winter hats, all those things are great.
Slippers?
Slippers. Sound like you're talking about there's
About
a new
your
rapper.
grandmama. Hey, baby, go grab
Young Slipper.
Go grab grandma's slippers.
All right. 615-737-1045. We'll continue the college football
shouldn't let me out
discussion.
the studio.
Andy Staples of On 3 joins us next.
Make this a magical Christmas with help from Genesis Diamonds, y'all. You will love what's happening this month at Genesis. They've got, listen to me, 5 years, 0 interest financing across the board. Yes, just pick any spectacular gift, divide the price by 60, and guess what? That's your payment. It's that simple. Everything's affordable, man. And guys, Genesis has what women love, too. From simple diamond stud earrings to amazing one-of-a-kind designer bracelets, their showcases are filled with exquisite diamond rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, can't-miss gifts with exquisite craftsmanship and lasting value. All of Genesis' exclusive designers are showcasing their latest creations so you can get her something truly unique and special. And Genesis non-commissioned experts will help you pick out that gift that's sure to bring a tear to her eyes on Christmas morning, all right? Relax. No pressure at Genesis. They will make it so easy for you. This year, get her the most romantic and most memorable gift for the season. Genesis Diamonds, the best value, best selection, best quality, and best overall experience. Get holiday hours, directions, finance details at genesisdiamonds.com. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
RKW 104.5 The Zone. Ramone Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, broadcasting live from Toy Field 2024 here at Nissan Stadium. Bring by an unwrapped toy or a gift for a senior. Filled up our field of toys that's right in front of us, courtesy of the Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels. We are pleased to be joined now by our very good friend, Andy Staples of On 3. Andy and Ari On 3, a must-listen if you are a college football fan, live on the mornings on their YouTube channel and also via podcast. Andy, what's up, sir? How are you?
How are we doing, Will?
We are good. I'm not as good as you, though, because you won a bet with your boy Ari Wasserman, and you were eating pretty good the other night at a local Nashville steakhouse. Have you recovered from, what was it, like the $1,100 dinner that you guys had the other day?
Well, I've recovered because I wasn't paying. I won the bet. So, but yeah, so he could have just paid me in cash, but I was like, that's no fun. So I was like, I'm going to make you take me out for the largest steak I can find, and we brought our producer River with us, and it was a hell of a night. Not for Ari, of course, because he had to pay.
I am just glad that VFL River got the opportunity to benefit from this. River is the man, Andy, as you know. He's the man that makes it go.
River's our producer. He is the brains behind the operation, He's a young guy working really hard. And he had never been to a steakhouse that fancy. And wow. He and I had kind of the same upbringing where we had no concept that places like that existed until our 20s. Like, I think the first time I went to somewhere like that was my bachelor party and had no idea. And so it was fun watching his eyes just bulge out of his head when the giant Dutch oven with the 40-ounce Wagyu tomahawk showed up.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about right there.
I was going to say, Ramone, or is that weekly? That's Sunday night dinner for Ramone.
Welcome to the life, man. That's what you should have told him. We ain't going back from here, baby.
That's exactly right. Now, I don't have the Pittsburgh Steelers money to do this very often.
Here we go.
When I win a bet, I'm good.
River's great. I spoke to a class River was in when he was at Tennessee. Clearly, he listened to nothing I said because he's crushing it. He's doing a great job with you guys. Andy Staples of On 3, our guest, talking college football this morning. All right, Andy, let's start from the Tennessee perspective. What do you make of Tennessee's matchup with Ohio State from the Vols' perspective?
Well, they're playing with house money because all the pressure's on Ohio State in this game. Tennessee should be here. Preseason expectation, we thought, okay, this is probably a playoff team. We don't know how dominant they would be throughout the season, but we thought it's probably a playoff team. They're a playoff team. They don't have to go any further for this to be a successful season. Ohio State has to win the national title for this to be a successful season. So between that and the Michigan loss, all the pressure is on them. And what I think is interesting is with Ryan Day and the questions about him, like, if you look back at that Michigan game, one of the big reasons they lost is they tried to beat Michigan at Michigan's game. And I don't know why, because if you're Ohio State, you have the best receivers in the country. Just throw the ball. And they tried to establish the run over and over and over, and running into the teeth of that Michigan defense with 2 first-round defensive tackles and Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham, like, you're going to have a problem. And Ohio State's offensive line is probably their weakest position group. So if they try to do that against Tennessee, they're also going to lose because Tennessee's D tackles are not as good as Graham and Grant, but there's 4 guys in the rotation that are going to play in the NFL, and the edge guys are way better than Michigan's. So, like, you've got to use what is your advantage. And in Ohio State's case, it's Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate. They have dynamic receivers. But the thing is, like Will Johnson didn't play in that Michigan game. Tennessee's corner is going to be better than the Michigan corners they saw. So you can throw it, but it will not be as easy. Plus, there's also the little matter of James Pierce coming after you. So I think that'll be good. The last time we saw Tennessee, it felt to me like the first time Nico and the receivers were really connecting down the field, because my thing was with Tennessee's offense, like early in the season, it felt like Nico was pressing a little bit, overthrowing. Then it felt like he got to where he was putting the ball on target and the receivers were dropping it. The Vandy game is the first time I felt like he put it on target, they caught it, and all of a sudden the offense looked pretty smooth.
Andy Staples with us from On 3, man. Andy, in the same world as Tennessee versus Ohio State game, man, it seems to me that Ohio State and their fan base and their coach and Kirk Herbstreit are having an identity crisis, man. You got a famous guy like Herbstreit, throwing shots at Day and how the Boo Birds would be out at that crowd. How real is that, Andy? Was that Kirk trying to stoke the fire to get his people behind that home team up there?
It's 100% real. It's 100% real. The loss to Michigan was as psychologically damaging as I've ever seen a loss. And so Ari Wasserman, my co-host, he covered Ohio State for 10 years. So he's got a really good insight into the psyche of the Ohio State people. And he's like, no, you guys have to understand this is a lot more serious than people on the outside would think. Because people on the outside look at it and they go, whatever. They win all these games, so they can't beat Michigan. But to Ohio State, that is an existential crisis. And the losing to this Michigan team, which is going to be the worst one they'll see in the next 10 years, is just very jarring for them. And they're pretty shook. And I think they were already doubting Ryan Day, and now they've completely bailed on him. So he can get him back by winning the national title, but again, he has to win the national title. Like they've got to win 4 games in a row to do this, and I don't know if they can. Like the one thing I was thinking about watching the Ohio State Michigan game that I saw the matchup come up is like Dylan Sampson should be licking his chops, because this Ohio State team, like Michigan kept running at them over and over again because there's not much else Michigan can do. And eventually the dam broke and Khalil Mullings popped a big run on him. And it was only the one in that game. But Dylan Sampson is capable of doing that 2 or 3 times in a game, which is actually what Michigan had done to them the previous few years. And as good as Ohio State's defense is, Tennessee's played some really good defensive lines and front sevens, and they've been able to get Dylan Sampson loose against almost all of them. So that's another thing to be concerned about. Like, I know Ohio State's a favorite in this game, but it feels like all the external stuff favors Tennessee.
Usually, Andy Staples with us this morning. When you start having conversations about outside football things, that really takes away from the on-field presence, man. So I hope they continue that little rift and raft they got going on up there in Columbus, man. Call me the biggest hater like Kendrick Lamar, okay? And I'm okay with that these days, all right? But also in this, too, there's some more haters around the NCAA, man. I was a little shocked. I'll be honest with you. For the first time, and I feel like the last 20 years, Alabama didn't get preference, man. And their athletic director, Greg Byrne, was tweeting through it and got community noted. Andy, were you – I'm on a roll today, Andy. I'm outside the studio.
You are the biggest hater.
But, Andy, were you shocked by SMU getting in over Bama? And how shocked were you that their athletic director was tweeting through it?
I wasn't shocked at all about either of that. I mean, here's the thing. They were not going to punish a team for playing in a conference championship game. Like, that's a case of them protecting the system, because they kind of have to. Like, all these guys want their conference championship games to be valuable and mean something. And also, there's a bunch of ex-coaches on that committee. The ex-coaches are going to say, look, hey, they earned their way into the conference championship game. We can't punish them for that. And Alabama didn't have a great case. I mean, they got housed by a bad Oklahoma team. It's one thing to have a Vandy loss on your resume where that was a game they were in, at least. To get completely demolished changes the argument. And Greg Byrne then tweets, this is going to change how we view out-of-conference scheduling. Well, first of all, you didn't lose a non-conference game. You lost conference games. So wouldn't you want to change conference scheduling if that's the problem? And the thing is, they did go to Wisconsin. They tried to schedule a good non-conference game. The Badgers didn't cooperate because they were bad. If Wisconsin had been a 9-3 team that Alabama had gone up and crushed, Alabama would have gotten in. That's people are looking at this all wrong. Like, if you schedule a tough non-conference game and win it, it is great for you. It will give you the benefit of the doubt. Now, you still have to get lucky, and that team has to be good. Like, when they scheduled that game against Wisconsin, Wisconsin was winning 10 games a year. It's not Alabama's fault that Wisconsin stunk, but unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles.
Andy Staples, our friend of On3, joining us this morning on RKW. So you look at Georgia possibly losing Carson Beck. Looks like he's got an issue with the elbow. They get a bye, though. And then Texas, they're playing in the first round against Clemson. Who has the easier route to the championship between those two?
That's a great question. I would say I don't think Texas got the easier route because Clemson does have a bunch of good athletes. Now, that game, though, there's two outcomes in that Texas-Clemson game. Either Texas beats Clemson by 3 touchdowns or Clemson wins. And I think I'm leaning toward the first one because I think it might look like the Clemson-Georgia game at the beginning because Texas's defense is straight up nasty. And I don't know. I mean, Clemson's offense has gotten better as the season's gone on, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to move the ball on them. So it may be that Texas has the easier path. I definitely think Penn State, which lost the Big Ten championship game to Oregon, has the easier path than Oregon because Penn State gets SMU, and if they beat SMU, they get Boise State. Meanwhile, Oregon has to play the winner of the Tennessee-Ohio State game, to get to the semifinals. If I asked you what you'd prefer, having to beat SMU and Boise State or having to beat the winner of Tennessee-Ohio State, I would rather try to win the two against SMU and Boise State first.
For sure.
I think that would be harder.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Georgia, I don't think Georgia has the easier path because they potentially play Notre Dame in the semis or in the quarterfinals. Stylistically, Notre Dame probably matches up the best with Georgia of any team on that side of the bracket.
Ooh, yeah, that would be a good one. Andy Staples of On3 joining us this morning. Okay, so give us a little bit of perspective on what the heck is going on with the North Carolina situation. Bill Belichick, is that just a thing that we're trying to hype up, Bill Belichick, or is this real?
It seems real. Now, the question is Bill Belichick actually going to do this, or does he want to do this, or is he trying to alert the NFL teams that are going to be hiring coaches, hey, I'm going to be off the market if you don't let me know that I'm in on your job. And I'm not sure what the real answer is. I do know that there's a power struggle going on in North Carolina between the Board of Trustees and the athletic director, and they've been trying to kneecap him since long before they fired Mac Brown. So this is playing out in the coaching search, and you've seen some of the good college coaches that they've approached to say, thanks, but no thanks. John Summerall from Tulane, Matt Campbell from Iowa State, because they don't want to be involved in something like that. They know that's a potential recipe for failure if you have strife at the top like that. And what's interesting about this is if you're trying to make your AD look bad, if you're trustees and you're trying to make the AD look bad, one way you can make him look real bad is let yourselves get played by Bill Belichick, get the fan base excited thinking they're going to get Bill Belichick, and then Bill Belichick pulls the rug out from under you because he really wants an NFL job, and you end up having to hire somebody else. Oof. And that is – because then the fan base is just going to be mad at the AD because they're not going to know all the machinations that happen in between. They're just going to say the AD's job is to hire the coach. How'd he screw this up? When, in fact, we don't know yet if Bill Belichick is really serious about this. He sounded serious on McAfee yesterday, and if he is, then this needs to consummate pretty soon because the portal's open. They've already punted on National Signing Day. The quarterback from Greensboro, Bryce Baker, that they had committed, has delayed his signing. He really wants to go to North Carolina. He really does. But he's taking visits to Penn State. LSU's in on him now. They have to figure this out soon, or they're going to punt on the whole offseason.
Andy Staples of On3, our guest. Andy and Ari On3, Monday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Central on On3's YouTube channel, and right after games. That has been my routine all season. Pop on Andy and Ari and react to the college football weekend with them. Andy, when you look at the 14-team playoff that seems like a foregone conclusion in a couple of years, how much will this year's, inequity between the winner and loser of these conference championship games and the fact, right, that Penn State has such an easier draw, how does that get fixed, do you think, in the future to where, is it reseeding after the first round? Is it taking away the conference champions getting buys? How does this year affect what is next to come?
So if you go to 14, you take 2 buys away anyway. So that may solve it. So then you just have, in this particular case, Oregon and Georgia getting buys, which those would be the 2 that I think most people would say deserve the buys. And so you take that piece out of the equation, which is why the SEC and the Big Ten are pushing for 14. Now, the way I think you handle it in terms of the path and the seeding, Kirby Smart said it right. Just play it straight with the rankings.
Right.
Don't artificially seed somebody. I don't think you have to reseed after the first round like the NFL does. Just don't artificially seed it. Like, have number 1 and number 2 be number 1 and number 2, number 3 and number 4 be number 3 and number 4. Don't be bringing number 10 up to number 3.
Yep.
Yeah, it really is that simple.
Andy, your alum, man, Florida. Napier's going to be all right, man. He going to turn this thing around. How's it looking down there?
Well, they got a big piece of news yesterday when Caleb Banks decided to come back, because he's a D tackle who'd played really well down the stretch and looked like he'd played his way into a pretty good draft spot, and decided he's going to do another year at Florida, which that would have been a spot where they would have absolutely needed to grab somebody out of the portal who could make an impact, and that's a position where it's really hard to do that. And so they're actually still in on a guy named Keyshawn Silver, a Kentucky transfer, who would fill that role. So I'm curious to see how big a spender Florida is in the transfer portal. I think they're going to be, and I think if they can get a couple of dynamic receivers and maybe an edge rusher and maybe some offensive line depth, which, by the way, that's pretty much everybody's wish list. But if they can get that, you're talking about a team that can be very competitive in the SEC, because you saw them in Knoxville. They played Tennessee to the wire, lost in overtime. They played Georgia tough, even with the third-string walk-on Yale quarterback in. Texas was the only game at the end of the season where they were non-competitive. DJ Lagway didn't play in that game. DJ Lagway is the difference. And I think part of the portal piece is there will be guys who are one-year rental type guys who are going to the NFL. They have 1 year eligibility left, or this is their contract year, quote unquote, where they're going to go to the NFL, who want to play with DJ Lagway. I think that's going to make the difference. I think Florida and South Carolina are in a pretty unique position among the teams, because they each have a quarterback that everybody's going to want to play with. So DJ Lagway for Florida, Lenore Sellers for South Carolina. And I think that gives them somewhat of an advantage, where if you can be financially competitive with your offer, you may not have to make the biggest offer, because somebody's going to go, you know what, I can ball out with that guy on my team.
He is Andy Staples of On3. Andy and Ari, weekdays Monday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Central. You can pop us on the radio, pop that on the tablet. We give you permission to consume both of our content at the same time. Andy, we appreciate you as always, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Andy.
Yes, sir. Andy Staples joining us. A well-fed Andy Staples. After
Yes.
$1,100 of meat was consumed at Bourbon Steak.
Bourbon Steak. That's where they went. Yeah. Okay.
They got that 40-ounce tomahawk that comes out in a cauldron, and they take the lid off of it, and it's just it's smoky goodness right in front of you.
I ordered that one. The only out off the wall thing I got from there was that smoky bourbon.
Yeah, the old fashioned is terrific. They had a bet that Lincoln Riley would lead USC to the playoff in his first 3 years. Was the bet Ari Wasserman made. Andy was like, nope.
Ari is struggling this week after that.
That's right.
That's what he get for ghosting me.
Coming up next, Shane Beamer spoke yesterday and has an issue with the college football playoff that I have heard from fans that Ramone will be able to relate to. We'll talk about that. We are here at Toy Field, presented by First Horizon Bank today, inside Gate 6 at Nissan Stadium. Come by and see us while you're out doing your holiday shopping. Pick up an extra new unwrapped toy or a gift for a senior. Bring it today to Toy Field. Help fulfill the dreams of thousands of children in need this holiday season. Here until 6 p.m. Come by and see us. Breakfast is going. We'll be back after this on 104.5 The Zone.
What's going on, guys? Bert and Ramone here to tell you about the original hot chicken. That's Princess Hot Chicken, and we're over here at Toy Field all day today. If you guys are out and about, come drop a toy off. But Princess is doing their own kind of giving back to the community, Ramone.
They are, and if you act right real quick, Bert, I might take you to the karaoke on Thursday, okay?
Don't play with me.
Hey, listen to me. They're having Christmas karaoke this Thursday, all right? Just so you know. But now until the 13th, man, Princess Hot Chicken, they're also hosting a coat drive for Coats for Keelan, man. Listen, drop off new or even gently used coats at the Tailgate outlets or at the Nolensville Road location, all right? The coat donations will be given to Brenda's Box of Blessings and Restoration Point Clothes Closet, all right? This is that time of the year. Do the right thing, and you know this to be true, too. Princess Hot Chicken is also catering this time of year, whether it's a family gathering, work function, or just simply parties. For more details or to donate, go to princesshotchicken.com.
RKW 104.5 The Zone continues live from Toy Field, presented by First Horizon Bank. Special thanks to Pig and Pie for catering breakfast. Serving Middle Tennessee for over 25 years. From barbecue to breakfast, Pig and Pie does it all. Online at pigandpie.net and on Facebook at Pig and Pie Catering. So Shane Beamer took to his press conference microphone and talked about bowl trips. The Citrus Bowl. So, of course, his team on the outside looking into the college football playoff. You'll hear him admit that, yeah, of course, I'd rather be in the playoff. What?
What's wrong with you, man?
What? It's part of the story.
Teams on the outside looking in.
I mean, they are.
I'm just telling the story. I'm not trolling.
Okay, all right.
They should have been in.
That's me. I'm the problem today.
I know they couldn't really.
I am the problem today.
They should have been the first team out. But they are headed to the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah.
And Shane Beamer talked about the downside of not having bowl trips anymore.
I don't want this to come across the wrong way that, man, I'm glad we didn't get in the playoff but in some ways, the playoff's tough. And I've said it in here before, or somebody asked me on an interview, it may not have been in here, about the playoff. And the one thing that I didn't like about the playoff is if you play a first-round game and you lose, your season's over. And there is no bowl game. And the playoff, as great a town as South Bend, Indiana is. Indiana, the University of, is not going to South Bend to spend 4 days in South Bend on like a bowl trip. And who's playing us? Penn State, SMU. SMU is not going to go spend a week in State College and go visit Hershey, PA, and see like the chocolate factory and stuff. And bowl games are special. And the fact that we get to, and again, this isn't Shane saying, man, I'm glad I'm not in the bowl game because I get to do this. In a playoff. We would have loved to have been in a playoff, but the opportunity that we get to go spend a week in Orlando. We'll go down there on the 26th, I think, is when we arrive. So we got a week there together as a team, and our players and our coaches' families getting to experience all the amazing things there in Orlando or whatnot. Is an awesome opportunity that our players are really looking forward to.
So, Ramone, you've been on multiple bowl trips. You played in 2 Outback Bowls, back-to-back
Cotton
seasons
Bowl.
against Penn State and Wisconsin. You played in the Cotton Bowl. You crushed A&M. I got some A&M students thrown out of that game because they were being mean to me, and I was in second grade. That's neither here nor there. What do you think about that?
Shane's got a point to be made. He does have a strong point to be made on that one right there. Like, I didn't think about that. What I do hope is happening is those jokers, those athletes get like the stipend that we get, because this is essentially just another game.
Right.
I feel like even the conference championships game, you get something.
It's like a 13th game.
Yeah, you get something, and that makes sense with what you're trying to do. But here's the other side of it too. Like, you much rather be in than out.
Of course.
And the destination
100%.
of where you're playing at, I mean, South Bend, Indiana, we stayed in some podunk old motel when we went there, so I know what he's talking about. Like, that didn't register to me. But that's also somebody, as he said, he's on the outside saying that type of stuff. They got to get bowl gifts still.
Yeah.
It's the biggest matchup. Yeah, I get him. He's right about that, though. Like, it should be a destination for sure.
Yeah, I get what he's saying, but I mean, when it's all said and done, you always want to be at this point playing in the playoffs because that's going to give you a chance to win a national championship.
Right.
Bowl games, I think there's still a lot of plus sides to it for teams that just aren't as fortunate to get in, or like him, were just on the outside with their team looking in. And, you've got the week of celebrating, like you said, with your team. Unfortunately, a lot of these guys are already hitting the transfer portal, and that's what I don't like about the bowl season, is because you are seeing some teams that get depleted at that point, and it's almost like, what are you even watching? You go spend your hard-earned money to go travel to, support your team. Sometimes you don't have all the parts there even. I think that's the part where I'm a little bit out, because when I used to travel for bowl games and watch them, man, we were seeing real bowl games happen.
Yeah,
and that was competition at its highest. Now it's like, it's almost a flip of the coin. If you don't lose 15 guys to the transfer portal, then you might be good to go. If not, then you could be watching a slammer.
So I mean, your season your season will end sooner than like the early bowls. Like the 22nd, you're done, and
right.
You're done.
If Tennessee loses next weekend in Columbus, like that, That's it.
Oh, these coaches going to have something to say about this moving forward.
I mean, Shane Beamer just did. So I don't think if you're unfamiliar with Shane, like if you don't listen to him talk a lot, like this is just how he is. Like he's just going to be honest with you. I really quite like Shane Beamer and the way he handles media because he's just kind of himself. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there's anything big to take away of like, oh, he'd rather go to a bowl. Like he even said it. He's like, I'd obviously rather be in the playoff, but like there is value to like getting to reward your players at the end of the season with a trip and with we're gonna go to SeaWorld and see the whales and
ride roller coasters.
Ride roller coasters, stuff like that. Like I know how big of a deal. Like I don't know. Like everyone in any age of sport has an end of year bash. Of some kind. This has always kind of been college football's, and it's not the biggest problem facing college football right now. But I do think when you talk about a sport that is commonly becoming different and is commonly, I guess, I don't know, like tearing down the elements of you are a team and hoisting up the elements of you are your own business. This is one area where you do bond as a team and you get to lean into more of the fact that like, no, we are a program. We are a team. We are going to go ride a water slide together. And you might laugh at me and say like that doesn't matter. That's not a big deal. Like I'm not saying it is a big deal, but I do think it is something that fans and coaches are going to have to adjust to.
But that's also to your same point. Like, this is where the development of your freshmen, redshirt freshmen, these early enrollees, like all of that, like plays a part into those bowl games, especially if you got a late December or early January one. Like, you are barely getting started right now. And this is your point about, like, this is who we are. Like, the best times on campus and when nobody's on campus. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? With
you feel like a professional athlete.
You feel like a professional athlete, man. And like, there's no classes, practice, treatment, go home, play video games.
It's great.
It is one. Listen, that's
you get so recovered those weeks. Like you're not as sore.
Hey,
you're sleeping well.
We're figuring out everything this time. Hey, where we stand at in the next semester? Like we're figuring out apartment assignments and everything.
That's how I was too.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I think for fans, it's makes the biggest impact to them. Like my vacations growing up were always just where UT was. Like, we were not a beach family as much as we were like, hey, if Tennessee's playing in the, the Outback Bowl, we're going to go to the Outback Bowl. And, like, we'll spend a day at the beach, a day at the team event, go to the game, and then go home. Like, I know a lot of people plan their vacations around it. So I don't know. I think it's one of those little impacts that, like, we didn't really think about.
It never registered.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just something that's different.
Yeah, I just wish the one thing they do is change that transfer portal to after.
Yeah,
but
I'm with you on that.
They have to be on a schedule. So,
yeah, I saw some yesterday talking about some let's do work. I'm like, you still at the facility?
Coming up, as somebody said, like, wow, God's told a lot of people to transfer.
Yeah.
He must be fans of a lot of different college football programs. 615-737-1045, live from Nissan Stadium for our 17th annual Toy Field Toy Drive. Our 8 a.m. hour presented by Embright Credit Union begins where Brian Callahan talked about the importance of the Final Four games and was asked about his job security.
Hey, we all know Nashville is one of the best cities to live in, but with all the growth, it might make it tough to find a real estate agent that you can trust. That's why I'm excited to introduce you to my friend Bernie Gallerani. He has a proven track record, so much so that he's going to guarantee to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he's just going to buy it from you. Recently, Danica and her husband, they were looking for a new home, expecting it to be a stressful process like many of us do, but working with Bernie Gallerani real estate team was quite the opposite. These two experienced personalized service and clear communication to make the process smooth and effortless. Bernie is the only real estate agent in Nashville, recommended by Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank, and he's the only agent I would trust to sell my home. Bernie Gallerani, the real estate agent that has the 30-day guarantee to sell your home, or Bernie will just buy it from you, and you can give him a call on his personal cell phone, 615-428-2644. That's 615-428-2644, or go to BernieGallerani.com.
8:01. Good morning from Nissan Stadium for Toy Field. I am Robert Walsh. Monday Night Football last night, whether you're watching the traditional or the Simpsons broadcast, better game than we expected. Bengals win one on the road against the Cowboys, 27-20. Late in the game, Cowboys blocked a Bengals punt, but Cincinnati was able to recover it, then hit Jamar Chase for the go-ahead touchdown from 40 yards out. Cincinnati improves to 5-8, while the Cowboys fall to 5-8. And if you haven't donated, I encourage you to drop by, spend some time with us over here at Nissan Stadium. We're over here at Gate 6. You can part in Lot F. Bring us a toy. Bring us a gift for a senior. Come out and see us. Every show's out here today. RKW, Cover 2, The Buck Rising Show, 3HL. Everybody, come spend some time with us. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Toy Field 17th annual event happening now this morning. It is RKW, Ramone, Kayla, and Will live from Nissan Stadium. Toy Field presented by First Horizon Bank is today until 6 p.m. benefiting the Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels program. We are asking for your help. Go out and do some shopping this morning. Just take a couple minutes. Pick up an extra new unwrapped toy or a gift for a senior. Bring it today to Toy Field to help fulfill the dreams of thousands of children in need this holiday season. Our 8 a.m. hour is presented by Embright Credit Union. Founded in 1951 by the employees of Nashville Electric Service, Embright Credit Union now serves more than 10,000 members in the Middle Tennessee area. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, Robert Walsh, Kirby Allen Kirby here on site. Jackson Williams back at our Midtown studios, and Brian Callahan was asked about his job security.
Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh.
I thought we was going to audio right there, but that's fascinating. It's a fair question to be asked.
Absolutely.
In today's world, expectation of winning, resetting the culture, having a plan that works week to week, like those are the things we want to see more consistently. And I think asking somebody, do they think they've done their job well enough, is a part of this process, whether you hate it or love it. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this time of year, really quick, I was just going to say, we had this discussion, Ramon, before you got here about John Robinson. It's the second year since that firing. And it's crazy to think that, like, this is the time of year where you mostly could hear about coaches getting fired, but we've seen it all year in the NFL. Like, this has been happening since, like, 5 games in with Robert Saleh. So there's been, I mean, you never know what you're going to get in this day and age when it comes to National Football League.
Very fair question, and I thought an interesting answer from Brian Callahan when asked about the importance of the final 4 games. Then the follow-up was about his job security.
To me, it's pretty straightforward. My job is to continue to build what I believe in as far as the process goes. I told this exact same thing to the team this morning, that these 4 games are very important for us. They're important games, and even though we're out of playoff contention and there's nothing to play for in the postseason, these are important games for what we're trying to set for the future. And there's a time and a place to be honest, and today was one of them where, look, the season isn't what we want it to be. But there's a lot of things that I believe in our process and how we go about our business, the type of things that we do, and there's a lot of it, examples across the tape in that game even, of what it's supposed to look like. And that's where I trust in what we do and how we do it. And I made it very clear to the players too that that's all those things are good. We're doing things the right way. We haven't seen the results we needed to see. We've lost some close games. We've lost games that I felt like we've been in position to win and haven't made a play or two to win. But I still think you always go back to when you're trying to build a foundation for what's going to be hopefully sustainable success in the future. These things all matter. Every bit of it matters. And how we play in these games matters. How we finish the season matters. How we practice every day still matters. We got a lot of young players. We got people that are going to be here. Every year you change your roster, but there's a lot of players here that are going to be here for 2025. And it's a huge huge part of getting ready to continue to build for what comes next. And I think it's okay to be honest about that and say that, but that's a huge part of what these next 4 games are is continue to try to set the foundation for what's expected in the future and try to continue to build on what I think are a lot of really good and positive things from a process standpoint and a people standpoint that I think will lead to wins and success moving forward. And we haven't had a chance to show that with 3 wins, obviously. And then there's been moments we've played a brand of football that's not good enough. And we got to keep finding ways to fix that and keep moving forward.
You feel certain there is a future?
Oh, what do you mean?
For you?
Oh, yeah, I don't worry about that stuff. That's not for me to worry about. I do everything every day to do my job the best way I possibly can. I put everything into this as much as there's nobody that thinks about how to build this program and what we need to do more than I do. And so, yeah, I don't worry myself with anything other than that at this point. And again, there's things that I can't control, and so I don't focus on that. I focus on what it's going to take to build a program that and build a foundation to a program that's going to allow us to have success in the future. That's my only focus. It's the only thing I think about.
So there is Brian Callahan talking about the importance of the next 4 games as well as a question about his own job security. What do we think?
I'm going to say this about the 4 games to go thing. I kind of feel like we were having this discussion, though, 3 games ago when we came into the fact that division games were ahead of them and what they could do to not control their own destiny at that point, but they weren't officially
at least
out.
I'll say I know we're speaking about, like, if you had a chance to turn it around, you beat your division and maybe get in the hunt graphic.
Exactly, because that wasn't out. They weren't out at all by that mean officially.
Not 3 weeks ago. No.
So then the thing is, you go to Houston, guys, and I keep bringing this up because I thought that was something maybe we didn't expect them to get that one. And when they did, I think a lot of people turned in the direction, including myself, of, okay, maybe they really are going to start to put something together towards the end of the season. Then you see 2 really disappointing outcomes the next 2 weeks. And then we're saying, well, we've got 4 games to go to, find ourselves again. And I just feel like, okay, are we going to say this when there's 2 games to go? I feel like that should have been really, when you beat Houston, the motivating factor of let's really ride with this momentum throughout the rest of the season. And now we're kind of going back to we're going to find it again. But can you?
At this point, I do wonder sometimes the questions that coaches are asked by people in the media when they ask about their jobs. Like, how do you feel about your job? Do you think you need to be fired too? Like, I'd love to know the real answers that coaches want to say in those moments right there, because that's a sticky position to be in. But heavy is the head who wears the crown. He is the head of this organization as it pertains to what's happening on the field. And I feel like there's a lot of frustration behind the answers that he's giving. Because, again, he speak about everything they're doing in practice and meetings on the field and everything else. Like, I think there's proof that they're still somewhat trying to have a sense of development and physicality, because Logan Bruss tore his ACL in one-on-ones, if I'm not mistaken, last week.
Right.
So they're attempting to do the right thing. I saw somebody yesterday, it was a fan actually, that made like this long thread of like things that have happened over the last couple of years, including Mike Vrabel, the losses that he's had and how it spiraled downfield and how AJ whooped the pylon and everything else, or the goalposts and everything. Like, this has just been, to me, just a steady, like, snowball effect of picking up more crap on the way.
Yep.
And that question, man, to Callahan about his security, it feels like you're just adding more to it if you continue to make this ever change, like this always changing door of just newness. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I don't think it's going to happen.
Is there any scenario where you would fire Brian Callahan after this year? What would it take?
What would it take is one thing and one game that comes to mind: getting absolutely housed by Houston. At home.
So is that your opinion of what Amy would do, or is that what you would do? I'm asking you guys to put yourself in the owner chair. What would it take for you to fire Brian Callahan, or is he totally safe this year?
Completely embarrass the next 4 games, like you're like a Commanders type of situation where you're just going blown out. You're not competing. Yeah, in every game. I think that's what it would take for me, because to me, then that is complete regression.
I personally want to keep him, because here's what, and I've said this for a while, like, you got to give him a chance to risk. It's not his quarterback. It's not his picks, really. It's none of these that are fully contributing are his guys. But there is, and I will say this, there is an expectation of still being a coach and making and like finding ways to win. And I don't think you've seen it. I think it specifically showed up a little bit last week to where it became a little bit more problematic to me. I felt like the flow of that game, and I'm still in the boat with him, okay, as far as like saying don't fire him, right? But I felt like in that game when you looked at the pace of it against the Jaguars, it was played not to lose, and I'm scared that a bad team will do something good against me, so I don't want to do it. And that right there, you can't live in your fears as a coach against a team that you feel like you're better than. So I'm saying don't fire him.
So you think, Andre, you could go 3-14 and you're not firing him?
Yeah, because I think if you are completely embarrassed, I just think 4 games to go, and I would say at least one of them is winnable. Having the Jags again.
Sure.
But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't necessarily think it should. But if that happens, I think I would pull the trigger.
3-14, I think he's still here.
I honestly think I keep him no matter what.
Yeah.
I really do. I think barring something really weird happening, like this team quitting and just totally getting embarrassed and quitting, because that's the thing I think Brian Callahan still has. Is he has a team that wants to play for him and put their best foot forward. I genuinely believe that. Yeah. This team has not quit. So that's the bare minimum. That's not what you're expected to do as a head coach. I understand that. But unless that happens, I think he's back next year, because I think the financial implications of paying 3 head coaches in 3 years while you're building a brand new stadium is not insignificant.
No, and that has to be part of the play, right? Amy has to think about that. But 100%. There will be staff changes. There has to be staff changes.
I will say leaving the stadium on Sunday was the first time I had the thought, somebody's head might roll.
Yeah, it's Buck said it perfectly. We said it on the show yesterday. That is the kind of game that gets people fired. And I followed up to your point about Houston, because the Houston game always means a little bit more. And if the Texans come in here and they beat the Titans by 40, and the Titans are in Oilers jerseys, and the Texans get their payback and then some, we know how Amy feels about losing to that franchise. And that game might mean 1.5 losses or 1.5 wins versus 1. Sure. 615-737-1045. We'll shift the conversation when we come back as we broadcast live from Toy Field at Nissan Stadium. Austin Price of VolQuest and On 3 talks Tennessee football after this.
It's Ramone and Kayla here for Window Nation. Kayla, they are having the end of the year sale, which means 50% off all window styles. Plus, listen to me, 0 interest for 72 months. Yes, that's 6 years. And they're also giving you an additional 10% off of their windows this month, Kayla.
That is right. This is the month to do it, too, because you want to save after you're spending on all the gifts and everything for the holiday season. You want to save when it comes to keeping the heat indoors this winter, and you can do that with new windows from Window Nation. They've got a 96% customer satisfaction rating, over 33,000 5-star Google reviews. So they're going to install it and install it right the first time. It is the end of the year sale, 50% off all styles of windows, like Ramone said, plus 0 interest for 72 months and an additional 10% off. All you got to do is give them a call at 866-90-NATION or simply go online to windownation.com.
RKW 104.5 The Zone. Ramone Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, live from Nissan Stadium. Toy Field 2024. Here until 6 p.m., we are building a field of toys to benefit Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels program, and we are asking for your help. While you're out doing your holiday shopping, pick up an extra new unwrapped toy or a gift for a senior and bring it today to Toy Field to help fulfill the dreams of thousands of children in need this holiday season. Parking and curbside drop-off at Nissan Stadium is available in Lot H in front of Gate 6 of the West Plaza, so you can drive by, drop off your unwrapped toy or a gift for a senior there to benefit the Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels program. Help us create miracle moments for families in our community.
That's right.
Connecting with Austin Price right now, as we hope to get him on here shortly and talk a little bit about Tennessee, Ohio State. Guys, a matchup that I feel better about after talking with Andy Staples earlier.
Yeah, I do too, man. Well, the defense, right? Why do we get away from the old cliches whenever we're in it deep? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does they say? Defenses win championships, yeah. Right? The run game and the defense has traveled for the most part all year long. Have they not? Like, getting the offense on the same page is what's going to be a situation where you can't have three and out, or turnovers and stuff like that. I believe in what the defense can provide. It's Ohio State a foe we've never seen before. I mean,
not since '96.
Since '96.
One time.
If you get the jitters out of the way, man, as a coaching staff and as a team, like, they carry a mystique about them that is Ohio State. Like, you know who they are. You mention them, like, you get past that, man. They're a football team. Go play ball. Put the defense in front of anybody.
It is that time of year, too, when you're playing in the cold, which we know it's going to be up there. Like, that's always the first thing that comes to my mind is, like, a defensive type of game. And you would think with the way kind of Tennessee is built, especially on that front, that they're going to be ready for the moment. And you heard Andy Staples say it. We've been saying it for the last couple of weeks. That offensive line, they're maneuvering that around right now. And I don't know what that's going to look like, but they got to be prepared for that.
We're joined now by VolQuest's Austin Price, talking Tennessee football here this morning, live from Nissan Stadium. Austin, what's up, sir? How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. Got a little Mr. Football action today.
Nice.
Hey,
outstanding.
Let's go.
Our resident Mr. Football here certainly is happy about that. Austin, there is a Mr. Football from a year ago as well, Boo Carter, that kind of worked out well for Tennessee, didn't he? So that's an award that's often friendly to Tennessee.
Wait a minute. Ramone won this for football?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Austin.
Wow, Austin, you sound
Ripley
so
High
shocked.
School.
I'm up in the rafters, Austin. I'm up in the rafters, baby.
Ramone, you just got to be happy that you were a lineman when you were a lineman, because you would not be Mr. Football in today's high school football, because there is no lineman. It's all together.
That's all it is. Y'all some haters. But I guarantee you what, the first time, the first shopping item you need in your transfer portal is a lineman. I know that much though, Austin, but we can't get no love, man. See, this is why we charge y'all what we charge y'all in NIL these days, man. This is the reason why, because we get nothing.
I agree. You're just speaking facts, but I'm just telling you, in today's Mr. Football world, you're not winning that award.
We're not coveted. Okay, real quick though, why did they get rid of the lineman version of it? Do you happen to know?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't. I'd like to say because there's so many classifications, it was just so many awards, but I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I wish they'd bring it back. I mean, obviously, I think some linemen get left out, or kind of do a lineman of the year the way they do, the kicker of the year.
Hold on, we still do a kicker of the year?
Oh, yeah.
What the hell is the world coming to? I'm done, Austin. I quit this job, man.
Good luck to my guy Elliot Arnold at McCallie, who will be up for the kicker of the year award.
Nice.
Nice. That's my guy. So hopefully he wins that today. But a lot of good candidates up for a lot of awards today, and I'm sure that all portions of the state will be well represented there at the Mr. Football Awards.
I love it. Well, while Ramone silently protests here, Austin, let's talk some Tennessee football. What do you make of the matchup with Ohio State? Because to me, Austin, Tennessee has the guys up front to maybe win in Columbus the way Michigan did. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, I think when you look at the strength of Ohio State's offense, Will, it kind of mirrors the strength of Tennessee's defense. I think Tennessee's secondary, especially the corners and of course, Boo Carter at nickel, should be able to hold up pretty well against a really good set of receivers for Ohio State. And, I thought if they, the more I looked at the kind of potential matchups, I'm like, does Tennessee have anybody that can guard the Warren kid at Penn State, the tight end? I'm not sure they did.
Right.
Whereas I think, Jermod McCoy, Ricky Gibson, Boo Carter can hold their own against a really good set of receivers for Ohio State. And then Tennessee's traditionally been pretty good against the run due to that defensive line. And so, I think it'll be a really good game. Ohio State, to me, has not played their best game of the year to this point. And I don't think Tennessee has either. So, can either one of these teams put it together to kick off the college football playoff and what will be the finale that opening weekend up in Columbus?
I know, Austin, you caught up with Mike Matthews for the Vol Club Confidential this week at volquest.com, and he's a guy who stepped into that bigger role we've been waiting for against Vanderbilt. Red shirts no longer a part of the process, as these playoff games do not count towards red shirts. Obviously, Mike was not in that boat, Austin, but is there anyone who hasn't been a key contributor that you think could step into a bigger role for Tennessee now as those parameters change a little bit?
Yeah, and be Edwin Spillman, the Nashville kid. He had to miss a good portion of the time, had that big club on his hand, even for the Vanderbilt game. But I think that, you're going to see an expanded role for him. How many reps is that? I don't know. But, Jalen Smith was giving you 30-plus, snaps a game. Well, that's got to go to somebody. It just can't. I don't think it behooves Tennessee to just be like, hey, Arion Carter and Jeremiah Thielander, you get to split them up, and now you're playing 55 snaps instead of 40. So I think Edwin Spillman will play more in this game, which means they've got to crash course and get him ready coming up here in, 12 days.
Yes, indeed. Austin Price with us this morning at Vol Question on 3. Austin, what's the health of Dylan Sampson and also Squirrel White leading into this thing so far? Man, I know I don't have to really give us a whole lot of information, but those two dudes contributed a lot.
No doubt, and Dylan will be fine. The one I worry most about is Squirrel, and at this point, just don't know. We'll rehab a lot and see if he's able to go. But the loss of Chaz Nimrod, means you got one less slot, so you really need Squirrel to be able to go, and then kind of figure out who you're going to put in the slot. Otherwise, is that sliding Brew McCoy inside? Dante Thornton obviously did it a little bit, but was not as effective as he has been outside. And then you got guys like Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley. So we'll be interested to kind of see where Tennessee turns if Squirrel is not able to go as much as he's been able to go.
A guy like Chaz Nimrod would not play in the bowl game. I've seen some say, well, they're in the portal, but they're also playing for their team still. Is this the case for him?
It sounds like it. Again, each kid can make that decision. That's not Coach Heupel would love for any of these kids, Jalen Smith or whoever, to, play through the bowl game. And if they want to go if they want to, test, the market and go in the portal and transfer afterwards, they can. But it certainly sounds like that's probably going to be the case for these kids that have went into the portal at Tennessee do not play, but that'll be their choice.
When you look at these 4 years, Austin, that Coach Heupel has had and is a part of right now, I think you've beat some of the battered Vol syndrome out of most folks, okay, either through showing it or either by talking them off ledges, right? What has this 4 years been like? Well, no, let me go back to that. Did you expect Heupel, considering his recruiting woes that they said he had and, new to the SEC, to be able to pull off what he's doing right now?
Well, I don't think anybody expected him to go 11-2 in year 2 and win the Orange Bowl, considering where Tennessee had been, the last 15 years before he got here. So that was obviously a surprise. I thought pretty quick that he was going to be a better recruiter than people gave him credit for. I think, it's different recruiting to Missouri as an OC. And let's face it, like when you're an OC, your coordinator, you spend so much game time game planning, you don't recruit. Most coordinators are not great recruiters. Like that's because they're focused on their side of the ball. It's the position coaches, the running backs coach, the DBs coach, the tight ends coach. Those are your recruiters. So I thought he kind of was unduly, I guess, judged as a recruiter. As a head coach at UCF, you're recruiting a different kind of kid than you are here. I think Coach Heupel's done a fantastic job of building relationships and recruiting, and is a much better recruiter than anybody gave him credit for. I think he can still improve, but I think that he's done a really good job of, building bonds with kids and does a fantastic job on official visits and staying in contact. So I think that part is, maybe a surprise just based off what everybody said, but not really a surprise once you kind of saw it firsthand that first year or so.
Austin Price of VolQuest joining us this morning, as he does every Tuesday. Okay, so Austin, let's just make this clear. In Tennessee, in East Tennessee this time of year, it is not 85 degrees. So please break down to those who don't understand that going up to Columbus in 2 weeks, they're going to be okay with the weather. It's not going to surprise them by any means.
No, it's not going to surprise them. You got to remember, too, Ohio State has recruited nationally for so many years. Jeremiah Smith's from South Florida. He handles it just fine. Are they going to be cold if it's 30 degrees? I think it depends on, how windy is it. I personally don't really get cold at 30 degrees. Unless the wind blows. The wind's what can kind of cut it right through you. If it's just 30, but it's stagnant, I don't think that's that bad. So what's the weather conditions like? Is it, snowing and the wind's blowing sideways? Is it just kind of a cold night, stagnant? You go over there and get around the heater when you're off the field, and then you get back out there when you're on the field. This team will be fine. I don't think cold weather is – Tennessee may lose this game. I don't think it'll be because, cold weather. I think it'll be more because, they continue to have pre-snap penalties and, Ohio State had some big plays that Tennessee couldn't stop or whatever else. I don't think it'll be because the weather, unless it were to be a big snow game and all of a sudden, both teams are kind of neutralized and they're slipping and sliding around and all that out there, then that changes things a little bit.
Austin, how prepared do you feel is Nico Iamaleava for this moment in his first ever playoff? And he's the youngest quarterback in the playoffs this season.
Well, I think he's continued to get better. You go back to that second half at Alabama, and ever since then, he's done, 12 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's been really good the last 5+ games of the season. Has done a fantastic job, leading the team. And so I think that he's continued to progress, and as you would hope he would be. He's a redshirt freshman. I get he had a little bit of a lull there in late September and early October, but it seems like he's kind of snapped out of that and is playing his best football right now. And if that continues, then Tennessee will have a chance to go up to the horseshoe and pull off an upset. If he doesn't play well, then your defense sure better be on point, and Dylan Sampson better be running wild, or it'll be a tough road at the shoe.
VolQuest's Austin Price at Austin Priceless, where you follow him on Twitter. Our guest Tuesdays here on the show. Austin, switching gears to the transfer portal. It is open, and I know players are starting to, many of them commit. Many other ones set their visits. Where is Tennessee swinging biggest in the transfer portal this time around?
Well, they are, looking at interior offensive linemen, interior defensive linemen. And then after that, I think it depends on who leaves and who goes at each position, right? The more receivers they lose, the better chance they end up bringing in a receiver. Same thing with, defensive backs or other positions. So, I guess for me, I think Tennessee's just going to be really selective in who they kind of go after. But specifically right now, what they're looking at, interior of defensive line, interior offensive line.
Austin, in that same context, man, I want to ask you this question is, do you expect them to be able to keep Tim Banks? Everybody wants to be a head coach because you know what? If I get fired, I get the walk-away money, and I'll go back to being a coordinator again, man. Where is he at as far as his mentality on either wanting to stay a coordinator or moving on somewhere?
Well, Tim Banks wants to be a head coach. Make no mistake. He wants to be a head coach. The question is he willing just to take any job that could come his way, or will he be more selective? He makes really good money to be a defensive coordinator. I think I'd be selective in, the jobs I take. Because, you may only get one shot at it. You don't want to take a job that's kind of a lemon that, it's going to be tough to win at. So Would Central Michigan, be something, with him being there before, would that pique his interest, and then what AD is hiring and what are they looking for? Like, are they looking for an offensive coach? Well, that's going to rule him out, so I think the number of jobs will probably be limited just based off, a lot of ADs want offensive coaches because they're a little more exciting and a little more flashy, so I think, for Tim Banks, the biggest question is how bad does he want to be a head coach? Is he willing to take something that may be a risk versus being a little more selective and biding his time?
VolQuest Austin Price joins us Tuesdays here on Ramone, Kayla, and Will. A VolQuest subscription, a great gift as well for someone in your family who loves the Vols. It is a must-have this time of year and all times of year because this machine never stops. Austin, we appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
yes,
Austin.
Austin Price with us this morning talking Tennessee and Ohio State.
That's right.
Eggy Bop do the gritty down in front of the toys right
my
now.
goodness.
Okay, all right, cool.
Really?
You're
Holiday
pointing out the
spirit.
most
Yeah.
unobvious. I'm
You
like,
sure
wait,
he wasn't?
what's
Maybe he's just trying to stay
going on?
warm.
Eggy
He's just
Bop-
shaking around to stay warm
He
a
picked
little
up
bit.
his steps, man. He was doing
Oh,
the
I'm going to need a
Trying-
video
he was
of
doing the
that.
gritty, man.
See,
I'm
I
gonna
always
need a
get to
video of
listen
that.
to Slay and them talk about Eki on their shows when they're remote, but now we get to see it for
Bop in
ourselves.
his world, baby. We in
Yes.
our world right now. Also, Toy Field is where we at.
Yeah,
So
we are.
Bring a toy
We got
down
some
here.
bikes out here, man.
Look at
Will cutting a promo.
Will was impressed by me right now.
Right?
That was good.
I must have slept. Well, I got to check my sleep number. I
Yeah,
slept.
dude, you
I
came
way
on like
too
you
much
drank
energy.
8 liters of coffee.
Most
Way
people
too
are
much.
more wired when they have coffee.
Yeah.
We did not.
I think Ramone might be more wired without coffee. Maybe
I
the
think
opposite
so.
effect. Because neither of you guys have coffee.
All right,
No.
I'm
caffeine.
chilling. I'm great. I brought my
Big
own.
chilling.
Yeah, I don't have energy of Ramone. I'll tell you that
Have a
much.
sip of your coffee.
How much you paying? How much you offering?
Dang.
$2 a sip.
Dang.
$2 a sip.
Just give us those
Hit me.
11 toys that you do.
Nah, you can't.
You owed us.
You can't start the show talking about your platinum card then not expect me to tax you. All right? This is America, isn't it? We're into taxing folks.
I thought we
I
didn't
sound
do
like
repeat.
Dan. He's not out here
Look
today.
at me. I got coins. I'm
Bitcoins?
Please, sir, can I have some coffee? Can I have a spot of coffee?
Hey, I remember when coffee was a quarter and when a dime. Never mind. We can't say.
In other words, you're old. All right, just go ahead and plaster that on your
Look at
forehead.
Kirby. No where I'm at.
615-737-1045. Our 8 a.m. hour presented by Embright Credit Union. We'll continue with more from Toy Field after this.
Goodness.
RKW live from Toy Field, presented by First Horizon here today inside Gate 6 at Nissan Stadium until 6 p.m. Ramone Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. And our 8 a.m. hour is presented by our good friends at Embright Credit Union, founded in 1951, serving more than 10,000 members in the Middle Tennessee area. And joining us now from Embright Credit Union, our good friend Ron Smith, the man in the cowboy hat you just can't miss. How are you, sir? Good to see you.
I am great. It's great to see you guys again. I mean, we all can't wait for this time of year to come see you guys, regardless of how warm or cold it is.
Absolutely.
We lucked out the last, last year
warm.
wasn't bad either.
No,
I thought it was. I was cold.
Hey, we've been doing this 16 years. We've seen snow, sleet, rain, freezing rain, warm, sun.
Like Tennessee.
Exactly.
Sounds like Tennessee.
Yeah. If you don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes. It'll change.
Absolutely. Well, Ron, you guys have seen this event grow over the years, and it's so cool to see the way this community comes out and supports Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels. You guys always have just a massive bundle of toys. We just appreciate you guys being a partner so much.
Oh, thank you guys for doing this, because if it wasn't for you guys out here braving the weather, regardless of what the weather is, but braving it, we wouldn't be bringing toys out here. So thank you guys for partnering up and doing all that you guys do to make this happen.
Tell us about Embright Credit Union and what you all do.
Well, Embright Credit Union's credit union. We're local here in Nashville. We serve 5 counties around Davidson counties, Robertson, Cheatham, Sumner, Rutherford, and Davidson counties. We're, same thing as a bank, only a credit union where we give all of our profits go back to our members. So
that's awesome, man. Ryan, I have to ask you, you guys are here with us at Toy Field, and you've been doing this for a very long time, man. Why the consistency? Because I know having a foundation and giving is always just like, man, again, but like you enjoy this. Why so much enjoyment for you to want to be here year in and year out?
The kids.
The kids.
I mean, you think about this, and I'm going to put out a challenge here to everybody in the community. If it wasn't for what you guys do, allowing us to go shopping, get donations, get the toys, think of how many kids would not have anything for Christmas. So the challenge is going to be for everybody listening, bring by just one toy. Mm-hmm. If everybody around us brought one toy, think about how many smiles and the impact that's going to have on the kids come Christmas Day.
No doubt about it.
Ron Smith joining us here of Embright Credit Union. Ron, when you come in here early, which we get to talk with you early on every year, the field is, kind of bare. And then at the end of the day, when 3HL is here, we see the pictures of it full. How just great is that to see in terms of you're here now and then you see the end product?
Oh, it's amazing because, again, I go back to those kids. As that field gets filled and to overflow capacity on it, think of how many lives that's going to impact come Christmas.
Seriously. Yeah, seriously. And that's a part of it. You mentioned you guys being in Robertson County. I like to call it Simple Sumner, because we out there by ourselves. But you're in the community, man. How do you balance seeing, some people sometimes having to struggle, and on those Christmas days where you're doing these deliveries, man, how much of a joy is that to you guys and your business and your company too?
Oh, it's unimaginable. I mean, just the amount of joy that brings, knowing you've made an impact in your community. We take so much for granted that you don't get to see a lot of people, and now you look at that and see the impact you've made. You just can't explain it.
You cannot.
When you arrive, because there is an endless amount of toys. It's almost like Santa and all his elves. Yes,
yeah.
It's a loud truck. When that field starts.
You show up on horseback one year.
Setting the tone.
There you go.
I love it.
And I'd really love to give a shout out to all of our members that make it possible, our team members at Embright that solicit all the donations and everything, and then also the people at NES. Nashville Electric Service. I mean, we get bucket trucks pulling up in front of the offices. They'll jump out, they'll bring us toys, jump back in and go, do whatever they're doing, but they take the time to come around.
Next time they stop by, can you ask them, can they pull up to my house so I can get in one of those cherry pickers? Can I get in one of the buckets?
You better watch that because you might get stuck 75 feet in the air.
They'll leave you to work up in the clouds, Ramone. It's pretty foggy this morning. You would have been up in a cumulonimbus.
Listen to Will knowing his clouds out here, man.
That's right.
I'm shocked. Like, I didn't know the Tennessee education provided that word.
Ron Smith, Embright Credit Union with us. Ron, tell us about how people can learn more about Embright and how they can get involved.
Absolutely. All you got to do is go onto our website, www.enbrightcu.com. That's ENBRIGHTCU. Or you can give us a call, 615-687-4801. Any of our team members be able to help you and give you information, but we appreciate it.
Ron, I'm going to be real with you. I'm checking your style out here today. You got these gator boots on that Ron Slate wish he could wear, okay? And you crushing it. I kind of want some boots. I just don't know if I can pull them off, though.
Oh, dude, you can pull them off.
I can pull them off.
The problem
He's got a pair of
is
Chelsea boots. He can try to pull those off, but
nah, dude, you can pull them off. We'll just have to find the size for you.
We got to find the size.
That's
trick,
the issue.
right?
Is the size.
That's
custom
light.
order.
Okay,
size 20 is,
this guy's the king of no, we don't have it in stock, but we can order it for you.
I'm gonna have to go out and find you a couple of alligators to make the boots for you.
Listen. Our good friend Gator Mike is still here, okay?
Exactly.
We might have to get some gators from his farm, all right?
I love
But
it.
those boots are slick, though.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate that.
That's from the belly of the crocodile.
that's belly.
New boot goofing this morning here at Toy Field. Ron Smith of Embright Credit Union, our guest.
Yeah.
Ron, we appreciate you guys so much being a part of this event. Thanks so much.
Hey, we appreciate you guys putting it on and making it happen. So thank you guys.
I love it. Awesome. Our third hour brought to you by our friends at Embright Credit Union. Here again, we are building a field of toys for the Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels. Parking and curbside drop-off at Nissan Stadium is available in Lot H in front of Gate 6 on the West Plaza. Drive by there, drop off your unwrapped toy or gift for a senior to benefit the Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels program and help us create some miracle moments for families in our community. 615-737-1045. A chance to take your calls for the first time this morning. We are wide open for the fourth hour. What does Tennessee have to do to make a run of the college football playoff? We're going to talk about that in hour 4. Plus, recap what you missed if you slept in this morning. Brian Callahan on his job security. We'll talk about that coming up next. What's up, football fans? It's Will Bowling this Sunday morning. Hey, we just got a couple of these left. The Tighten Up Tailgate at Gray and Dudley, the Bankers Alley Hotel. We've had a great time hanging out with so many of you at 221 2nd Avenue North in downtown Nashville before Titans home games, and we are back there this weekend. Hey, the deal, it is as good as you're going to get in town. You come inside, you have a drink, you have some food at Gray and Dudley. They'll have the breakfast menu ready. They'll also have lunch ready. That smash burger is my personal favorite. The fries are the red pepper flakes. It is making me hungry just thinking about it. 9:30 a.m. If you come inside, you have a drink, you have some food, either or, it's going to be $20 to park valet at Gray and Dudley in the Bankers Alley Hotel. Or if you just want to park and go ahead and start your walk over across the bridge to Nissan Stadium, where we're at this morning, you can do that and pay $30. You've got the breakfast burger, you've got Bloody Marys, mimosas, the Irish coffees, anything you need to get ready for another Titans home game. We are not losing a tailgate, ladies and gentlemen, on Sunday mornings here in this city. 221 2nd Avenue North. Come by and see us. I'll be there hanging out with you 9:30 to 11:30 this Sunday before the Titans take on the Bengals.
9 o'clock. Good morning from Nissan Stadium for Toy Field. I am Robert Walsh. You had Monday Night Football last night. Whether you're watching the traditional broadcast or the Simpsons broadcast, a better game than we expected. Bengals win one on the road against the Cowboys 27-20. Cowboys blocked a Bengal punt late, but Cincinnati was able to recover it, then hit Jamar Chase for the 40-yard touchdown for the game winner. Cincinnati improves to 5-8, while the Cowboys fall to 5-8. And if you haven't donated, if you haven't been out to hang out with us over here at Toy Field at Nissan Stadium, I highly encourage you to do so. Come out, bring a gift for the kids or a senior. Help us celebrate the season of giving. We're at Gate 6 at Nissan Stadium, parking lot H. You can come over here, park, hang out, talk to us. We got food. Every show's going to be here. Can't wait to see you guys. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour of the show. The 9 a.m. hour is here already on a Tuesday morning in beautiful Music City, broadcasting live from Nissan Stadium. Toy Field, presented by First Horizon Bank, is today inside Gate 6 at Nissan Stadium until 6 p.m. We are well fed thanks to our good friends at Pig and Pie. We have had Embright Credit Union drop off a bounty of toys. We're looking for unwrapped toys or gift for the elderly this morning. That can be blankets, that can be hats, that can be gloves, that can be anything you'd get your grandma on them, is what we would like to have today. Come by and see us, Gate 6. It is super easy to come in. We've got a huge team of folks. When Eki Bop is not grittying, he will be there to help you bring all your people in, and he will converse with you. He will make you feel welcome.
Yes, he will.
That is what our promotions crew does here. Ramone Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, Robert Walsh, Kirby Allen Kirby, making the show happen in person. Jackson Williams back at our 104.5 The Zone studios. There is something here that I did not expect to see today.
Okay.
And it is because our co-host, Kayla, is so big time. He's such a big deal that people are not only bringing toys and bringing gift for the elderly, someone has brought a Ramone Foster jersey.
What?
A Pittsburgh Steelers number 73. This looks game worn. This is with the tight sleeves.
Oh,
you could strap this thing on and go play on a football field. And Ramone might have. You're just so big time.
I mean, did you sign it?
Not yet, but I'm going to.
Look at that.
How did this get here? Whose is this?
Yeah.
John from Pig and Pie. He ended up getting it, man. He asked me to sign
I see it hanging over there.
That is a game-worn jersey right there. See, Bert wouldn't buy my magazine off of
Right.
for $27, but you got my guy John over here with a full-fledged
That's pretty
game-worn
sweet.
What we
jersey.
might need to do is have Bert put it on and model it for the people of 104.5 The Zone TV.
Yes, please. Can we do that?
I just heard, a
He just
scream
screamed,
from the distance.
"No!"
I didn't even know Bert could hear us.
That is awesome.
Amazing.
We volunteered him for this.
It sounds
now.
like he is across the river on Broadway, is how much that echo just... No!
That was great. Oh, I have good news, too. Kate, our great friend of the Tennessee Titans, Kate Garrett, is going to bring us coffee.
I'm here for it, Kate.
I
man.
know. Kate's
Comes
always
through.
coming
I'll
up
be
clutch.
caffeinated after all.
She's
Right?
such the homie, man. I'm
She
telling
is.
you.
Kate gets after it.
Yeah, she does.
Final hour, we're revved.
I can't believe Bert heard you say that.
That was so great.
I want to see him model
was
it.
so
It's
great.
like the
personally.
ick is what he has going on. You forget, like, I forgot for a second when you said, but like, have Bert put it on. I was like, hell yeah, you should put the jersey on.
Absolutely.
No, he's a Ravens fan.
I know. Well, yeah. That ain't no problem. That ain't no problem. The F&M Bank chat open, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Ron Slay says, I'm probably going to steal that jersey.
I'm telling you, Savage, he got it up here, man. It is up here. But
We
Savage
up.
got plenty of jerseys, though, I think.
That ain't no problem. What's one more?
If
What's one more?
If there's a blue one, I'm probably gonna get a black one too. Okay,
Okay,
usually the
fair
way it
enough.
goes.
Exactly.
All right. Go ahead.
Absolutely right. The field is filling up. We fill this thing east to west, so horizontally on the field. We got a bunch of bikes here.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I want to go take a spin around Nissan Stadium.
There's ones with like little pom-poms on the
Little
ends.
streamers, yeah.
There's ones you could probably, Ramone could ride with one leg.
Oh.
You know, one leg would fit on that.
How do you ride a bike with one leg?
Good question.
Unicycle? No, not even a unicycle, right? I ain't got a clue. Look,
Bicycles.
those bikes are nice with the little streamers off the side.
Seriously.
They are.
Any kid's lucky to get that.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. Well, 2 years ago, John Robinson got fired on the day at Toy Field. This year, we have Brian Callahan commenting on his job security on a Monday afternoon. Jackson, if we can hear that again, like we did a couple of hours ago, Brian Callahan was asked about the last 4 games, what they mean to the team, to the organization, to his coaching staff. And a follow-up question was asked, are you sure you're going to be here to kind of see this through, see the future? This was the Titans head coach yesterday.
To me, it's pretty straightforward. My job is to continue to build what I believe in as far as the process goes. I told this exact same thing to the team this morning, that these 4 games are very important for us. They're important games, and even though we're out of playoff contention and there's nothing to play for in the postseason, these are important games for what we're trying to set for the future. And there's a time and a place, to be honest, and today was one of them where, look, the season isn't what we want it to be. But there's a lot of things that I believe in our process and how we go about our business, the type of things that we do, and there's a lot of examples across the tape in that game even of what it's supposed to look like. And that's where I trust in what we do and how we do it. And I made it very clear to the players, too, that that's all those things are good. We're doing things the right way. We haven't seen the results we needed to see. We've lost some close games. We've lost games that I felt like we've been in position to win and haven't made a play or two to win. But I still think you always go back to when you're trying to build a foundation for what's going to be hopefully sustainable success in the future. These things all matter. Every bit of it matters. And how we play in these games matters. How we finish the season matters. How we practice every day still matters. We got a lot of young players. We got people that are going to be here. Every year you change your roster, but there's a lot of players here that are going to be here for 2025. And it's a huge part of getting ready to continue to build for what comes next. And I think it's okay to be honest about that and say that, but that's a huge part of what these next 4 games are is continue to try to set the foundation for what's expected in the future and try to continue to build on what I think are a lot of really good and positive things from a process standpoint and a people standpoint that I think will lead to wins and success moving forward. And we haven't had a chance to show that with 3 wins, obviously. And then there's been moments we've played a brand of football that's not good enough. And we got to keep finding ways to fix that and keep moving forward.
You feel certain there is a future
Oh, what do you mean?
for you?
Oh, yeah, I don't worry about that stuff. That's not for me to worry about. I do everything every day to do my job the best way I possibly can. I put everything into this as much as there's nobody that thinks about how to build this program and what we need to do more than I do. And so, yeah, I don't worry myself with anything other than that at this point. And again, there's things that I can't control, and so I don't focus on that. I focus on what it's going to take to build a program that and build a foundation to a program that's going to allow us to have success in the future. That's my only focus. It's the only thing I think about.
So that was Brian Callahan yesterday when he talks about building on the process that they are establishing and building on good things. What kind of things can this team build on? What do you think he's specifically referencing when he says there are good things we need more of?
I think that's execution first and foremost. I think that's everybody's mindset being locked in to what the team goal is. Number one, I think that's important. Like I ain't gonna lie to you. Let me go back to the old, like the player side of me. I used to laugh at teams who used to have these speeches this time of the year because all is lost at that point.
Because you had a winning season every year you ever played.
And not even like it's the idea that you start off the season, man, like, yeah, we're going to the friggin' Super Bowl. Let's go. And then the next thing you know, like coaches essentially putting these guys right back into training camp mode again. He want to see guys finish practice. He want to see guys execute plays. He want to see guys be first one in, last one out. Like the teams that are in it right now, coaches are pushing them out of the building as quick as possible so they can go home and go rest. Like this does suck because as much as you're asking those out of those players right now, like you know what happens on game day though? one bad play, one bad series, you're right back to the old version of yourself. So him saying out front right now, the demand to finish games, the demand to create a mindset, the demand to be a pro. Like, you shouldn't have to ask that question, but because there's been so much losing, it's easy for you to just fall by the wayside and collect your check and go to hell home.
Yeah.
Like, God.
Yeah,
it physically hurts you.
No, it's...
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating.
Go ahead, Kayla. I can't talk no more.
I mean, it is. It's frustrating because we do kind of have to talk about a lot of the same stuff every week, and I don't doubt there's details being, had in meeting rooms and things that he likes, that he's seen, that he's discussing with us. The details he mentioned. Third down conversions, right? He mentioned limiting penalties, limiting turnovers. Those are things that have happened as of recent that we're like, okay, those are little things that are good, but are they actually winning you the game? Yes and no, because then you have other problems that are occurring, red zone offense, that continue to be an issue. So until you fix those types of things and you can put together a full game and do all those things right, because that's what you're trying to get out of this team, those little details, then when it's all said and done, if you don't win games, you're still going to be frustrated as a fan and as a player.
They've got to establish some sort of identity over these last 4 games.
Sure.
It is important for Brian Callahan to continue to show proof of concept the way this team did in Houston. To me, I think the thing you have to build on is some level of consistency in whatever area. I don't care if it's improving in pass blocking. I don't care if it's running the football well consistently. I don't care if it is throwing the ball deep down the field and explosive plays, which I think could be what this team can hang its hat on considering the skill set of its quarterback. Right. This team needs something it does well one week and then does well again. Yep. And that, to me, is the biggest problem I have with this Titans team is there is no level of consistency. They do something well one week, and the next week it's their biggest undoing and their biggest weakness. I want to see some unit on this field, some group, in any phase of the game, literally any phase of the game, do something well for 4 straight weeks. I don't think that's too much to ask for with 4 weeks left in the season, because one week the run defense will look like they're one of the best run defenses of the NFL, and the next week they've given up 150 rushing yards in the first half to Washington. There are some weeks that the offense looks explosive, like it can throw the ball over your head. Then they put up 6 points against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last week, special teams and punt coverage was great. Yep. Kick coverage, I have no issue with any of the special teams. But then it's the offense that just can't get out of its own way. Anything this team does well, they don't sustain it for more than 1 or maybe 2 weeks. So you've got to show me a proof of concept that you can give that for a month in one area over and over and over and over. Right. And I do not care what unit on the field it is.
Yeah, and I feel like it's easier said than done, because I feel like it should be so, like, not simple at this point, but they've achieved that in different aspects of games, but they just haven't put it together. What does that take? I don't know.
That's what training camp is for, right? Like, this is the conversation we're having as we were out there at training camp, and these were the things that we were talking about then. Like, you hate to be revisiting that now. Like, that's why I'm so out of words right now.
Bad teams of the NFL are inconsistent. Bad teams in college.
To that point,
bad teams in college are just bad. Like a bad college football team that's just not as talented as the other side of the field ever often will do nothing well. Bad NFL teams still do some things well. They just don't do them consistently. And that is where the Titans are. You can take any team on any given day and match together their A game on both sides of the ball, and they can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, heck, we almost saw the Panthers beat the Eagles this past weekend.
For real.
As Bryce Young has started to play better. The Titans beat the Texans. The bad teams in this league just don't consistently give their A performances enough. And that is exactly where the Tennessee Titans are today. Coming up, what has to happen for Tennessee to beat Ohio State and make a run in the college football playoff? We've got the pathway. We know where Tennessee has to go. No more complaining about where they're playing. Let's look at the matchup itself and ask the question, can Tennessee make a run and maybe compete for a national championship in the year of our Lord, 2024 and 2025? That's next. RKW 104.5 The Zone continues live from Nissan Stadium. And you can be like us if you want to come hang out at Gate 6. Over here, Lot H, where you drop off curbside for toys, unwrapped gifts for seniors, things of that nature. We're filling up the field. Our good friend Kate with the Tennessee Titans has brought us coffee.
Wow.
Has brought you guys coffee.
Hirschman.
Specifically.
Because you had
there's
yours.
one for me, too.
Yeah,
and I will drink it happily because I'm on about a 4-cup-a-day prescription.
2 more here. Thank you so much, Kate. This is
Kate's
going to hit off this next half hour of our show. She even has cream here.
I love it.
That's
She's
what I'm
thought of
talking about.
everything.
Look at that.
Thought of everything, man. Good having good people around. That's dope. Yeah, Mom got his coffee. I'm really about to act a fool now.
Right?
Let's catch up on some phone calls. Let's go to Larissa, who is on line 1. You can join us, 615-737-1045. Hey, Larissa.
Hi, good morning, beautiful people. I'll
morning.
see some of you guys later, I think, because we're dropping off some stuff a little later
Love
today.
it. Thank you.
But I wanted to I wanted to just kind of, I know that you guys are changing segments, but I wanted to kind of touch on Callahan. I mean, I don't think he should be fired. I agree with Ramone 100%. I mean, yeah, there are breakup conversations that need to be had, and I had even mentioned that on another show. You know, it's like any relationship, and when you're like, you're cute and all, but this isn't working. So I think maybe some of the coordinator, something needs to be, there needs to be a breakup somewhere. But I think that, Callahan's trying to put down roots and build a foundation and the essence of staying motivated. Yeah, this season sucks. That's a nice way to put it. But I think he should not be fired. Just slow our roll on that one. But I definitely feel like there's some breakup conversations.
Larissa, how high of a high were you during the summer and before the season kicked off to where you are right now?
Well, Renata, that's the thing. I was like, okay, this is going to be good. They're bringing in folks, and, I think everybody felt that spark.
Yeah.
And then it's like, dun, 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 so it is disappointing. It is heartbreaking. And you do have folks literally that, like, we're all blessed, every single one of us, if we wake up. But you have folks that save their money, their checks to go to a ball game. And then when you have people that are making millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars and they're not doing their job, and you kind of go, wait a minute, if I went to work like that, I'd get fired. So, it is heartbreaking, but you have fans that support their teams. Tennessee, and even though I didn't go to the University of Tennessee, when you're here, you can't help but be a sports fan and support the Preds, the tennis, the Vols, the Sounds, everything. But yeah, everyone I think was a bit excited and had that spark, and then it kind of went out. And you kind of just go, wait a minute now.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I will have one pushback. Like I will say, as far as the
Larissa.
guys,
Appreciate the call.
the guys and their efforts, and the guys and like their compensation, like they don't want to lose. No bad team wants to lose. Like you guys know, I'll always take a chance to pile drive AFC North team, but even when they're bad, like they don't want to lose. If they could go out there and just dog, it's a matter of lapses in. Well, y'all said it earlier. Like it's 4 to 6 plays a game that determines like how much you're gonna win by or lose by. Now, like if you continue to have bad plays over the course of the game, i.e., Detroit or Buffalo, like that's when it gets super bad. It's just like a big old difference in rosters and quarterbacks and stuff like that. But those guys and the compensation that they get, like they still want to win football games. It ain't many sickos I know that walk into it's like, yeah, screw y'all. I got my bag and I'm gone. Like
Maybe Vic Beasley, but
listen.
That's what I felt like he did here.
Boy, been living right is all I'm telling you. To be able to walk away with a highway robber and no ski mask like that, I'll do it too if y'all allow me. Who trying to sign me?
Let's go to Richard up next, 615-737-1045. Hey, Richard.
I just heard that the only thing that was so different is that, first of all, the keys to the game are trying to run the ball and give it to the tailback. The second key to the game is to just throw it to Nate Westbrook and Keene. And the final key to the game is just keep running with Tony Pollard. And I know there's still a lot of things to do with the issues, but I think the special teams coach, Colt Anderson, is having some issues. But I think Colt Anderson has some special teams issues. So I do have a bad feeling for the special teams coordinator, Colt Anderson, because it was so different. So I think the secondary coach, Steve Jackson, was the one to blame, because the problem is for Steve Jackson is that you have to be able to get the secondary going, and you should be able to think about it, and then you have to be able to do something. So I think the Tennessee Titans has to draft Daron Johnson, wide receiver out of Tennessee State University.
Thank you, Richard.
I appreciate it, Rich.
There you go.
There we go. We got keys to the game and some insight.
Perfect.
I mean, Tiz, you had a winning season. There's got to be some winning products around that, though, too. I say that with
It's a playoff team.
So much seriousness, too, you know? It's not like Tiz, you ain't put guys in the league before.
So from one local playoff team to another. Tennessee in the playoff, of course, next Saturday night against Ohio State. We have got so much time to break this thing down. But looking holistically, and let's say if Tennessee were to make a run, if the Tennessee Volunteers were to beat a couple of teams, they go to Pasadena, they're able to beat Oregon, they go to Columbus, they beat Ohio State, they're in a semifinal, or maybe even a national championship. How will they do it? How will Tennessee make a deep run in the college football playoff?
I'm going to go the opposite of what everybody is looking for all year long. You got to minimize Nico. Period. And what I mean by that is you're not minimizing him in terms of like the role that he plays and the plays he's supposed to make. But if we're counting on him to win the game as far as, hey, the ball's in his hand, he's got to throw 50 passes up and down the field, it's probably not a good day, right? My thing is this. That defense has to do everything and special teams. Defense and special teams. If you look at this past weekend, the teams that won and dominated Clemson's defense, right? You look at Georgia's defense. Correct? You look at Oregon, the way they played in their defense, too.
Offense.
Oregon's offense. Oregon's offense.
Oh, yeah.
But they also, you're right. That D-line had a little issues up front.
But I'll give you the other two.
But the other two, all right. Specifically Georgia, right? Let's go with them. At the end of the day, Kirby goes to halftime and do his thing with those guys.
The Godfather.
And hands and jacket interview guy is what he is from me moving forward, right? But every single time, man, from what they do in the first half, it's totally different than what they're doing in the second half, and teams can't adjust to it. If your offense is off or it's 2nd and 9 and now it's 3rd and 6 at some point, like you win those more times than not, because here's the other side of good teams over the course of the year. The moment you start ascending up and your defense believes a little bit more, those footballs fall into your chest the way it did with Jamar McCoy in the end zone, right? You have a guy like Diego Pavia who's been killing everybody on the field, not really getting much. You'll have a play or two that happen. Georgia had that happen this past weekend. But to me, as much as you can minimize the role that Nico Iamaleava has to play, the better pathway Tennessee's going to have. Does that mean more Dylan Sampson?
So you want more bully ball. You want less Nico, less downfield passing, and more what got you
I
here.
ain't saying I didn't want that. I said hoping and praying that Nico hits those.
It's minimized.
It's minimized, yes. If we can
dance with who brung you.
Absolutely. Don't get in. Look, it's one of them things. Hey, don't get in here and start acting crazy, okay? We've been good the entire date night. Like, don't get in here and start acting crazy. And then you go to the bar, you stand on the bar, take your shirt off the rope. No, we not doing all of that. Listen, walk into their place. Know that defense is going to work, and it's veteran-led also, Will. Why are we relying on a rookie? I mean, not a rookie, a freshman at this point.
Yeah, I would say for this Tennessee team to make a deep run is continue to do what they do best. And right now, because Nico Iamaleava is so young still in this, part of his career, he could very well go into the playoffs and ball out. We don't know that he won't do that, but I think the game plan going into this all is just play the type of defense that we've been playing all season long. Let's get those turnovers. We know our secondary is good. We've got Jermod McCoy, one of the best corners in the country right now. And I think if you could get past that Ohio State team, in terms of, I know Oregon is an offensive powerhouse. I understand that. But I also feel like they would face one of the best defenses they've faced in their schedule this year if they do get past Ohio State. So in my eyes, play that solid defense this time of the year when it's cold out, when it's defense wins championship type of mentality. And like I said, if Nico gets hot, then that's a bonus to everything.
Right. I think for me, if Tennessee makes a run, it is because they have either done one of two things. They are either connecting on explosive plays they weren't connecting on before. Nico stops overthrowing receivers deep downfield or underthrows them to the point where the ball's intercepted like it was against Vanderbilt. So that's option one because of what option two means. You're better in the red zone.
Yeah.
And Tennessee today, going into the college football playoff, ranks 102nd in red zone offense in college football. 79.25% of the time they score points. That is 102nd in college football. So you can bypass the red zone by throwing the ball over people's heads. You can minimize one of your weaknesses by hitting on explosive plays. Against Ohio State, I'm not counting on that. I'm just not. They have the athleticism and the talent and the overall ability at the defensive back position to be handsy, to knock you off of your routes, and to disrupt the timing of the explosive passing game. All right, so if that's plan A, plan B is just be better at what your offense is worst at, and that's red zone and penalties. Tennessee is 102nd in college football in red zone offense. They are 122nd, guys, in penalty yards per game. 69.7 yards per game Tennessee is getting penalized. Only Colorado, Alabama, and Ole Miss are worse among Power 4 teams. Those two things are also connected. You get red zone penalties, you get backed up. You can't just hand it off to Dylan Sampson and let him run it in because that is Tennessee's best version of red zone offense. Just give it to Dylan Sampson, let him get the hard-earned yards, beat people to the end zone, and that's it. There hasn't been enough creativity for me from Josh Heupel in Tennessee in the red zone. They haven't been creative enough to scheme guys open, and they've put the ball on the ground. Dylan Sampson deserves some of the plaudits for that, too. He's just fumbled it a lot of times on the 10-yard line, the 5-yard line, and things like that. So one of those two things. If Tennessee is playing in a semifinal of the college football playoff, it's because they've either started connecting on explosive plays or they've fixed their red zone issues. I don't see a path forward for them if they don't do one of those two things.
Do you think, Will, just real quick, in terms of the red zone creativity, do you think that's something then they just incorporate here in the next 2 weeks, or you think that's not really a possibility?
They've had all
at this
season
point?
to incorporate it, and they haven't. I mean, they kind of are who they are at this point, in my opinion. I don't think you're going to do something totally differently. There haven't been, to me, as many of the pre-snap motions and the, but that play Tennessee ran to Jalen Hyatt over and over, where it's a tight shotgun set. They motion him left, then he comes back right. He's open in the flat, and he's got the speed to run around and get in the end zone. I think Tennessee overall is not as talented on the outside as they were 2 years ago. This is a better team, and it's also certainly better better built to win in the cold than that team 2 years ago was. But to me, I haven't seen that innovation that we often seen from Josh Heupel teams in the red zone.
Yeah, but you also had a veteran quarterback, of course, that he had when they were this good in Hendon Hooker, right? So you did have that. It's been a full year of Nico, but Nico, I feel like, has had a little bit of recidivism as far as like going back and now getting to his point. The biggest issue, I think, is the red zone. You can't kick field goals against them, right?
No.
Especially with a field goal kicker having his issues and stuff like that. You do have to put points on the board. This is why I do believe, who is it? Andy mentioning the interior defensive line of Ohio State being very strong. Like, if you can hit the edge on those guys and not to that point, Will, on penalties, get holding calls, you eat.
I agree. I think the area where they could add a wrinkle is let Nico run it more. And I think especially in the red zone, if you can start playing 11 on 11 down there, then I think that could be the wrinkle that allows you to have more success, to be honest with you. I mean, how many times do we see the Titans? Like, you could almost count on 4th and 1, 3rd and 1. How many times did Ryan Tannehill keep it around the edge on a read option down in the red zone where you could start playing 11 on 11 in the run game? I like that element of Nico a lot. I think he is way more athletic than what he gets credit for as a runner. to me, I think that's where you go to think about how do we unlock a little bit of this offense. Because Dylan Sampson running the ball, if he holds on to it, has been outstanding in the red zone. He's just fumbling it too much. Like, that's the part of it that's got to change as well. He's not totally faultless in this.
And I agree with you on that, because here's the other point, too, about Nico Iamaleava. You don't talk about that athleticism the first thing you think about, right? But also, these are teams that are in the SEC. They're not seeing SEC play every single weekend. Yeah, they've got the film on him, but maybe if you could drum up some of that down there and be creative with Nico in particular, that's something that could throw a team off guard in the playoff.
100%. My thing is this, though, too. Go watch the Michigan tape last 4 years. Same staff.
I'm with you.
Same game plan.
Totally with you.
Same method of winning for Michigan. Now, here's where the biggest X factor I feel like the Vols didn't have in Athens against the Georgia Bulldogs was there was no adjustment. So as much as we speak about, like, the red zone side of things and the deep shots, like, I felt like Georgia went into halftime and did that second half switch, and they didn't have an answer for it, right? You can't get caught by the element of surprise. So if I am Heupel and his staff and Tim Banks and Halsley and all those guys on staff, I'm looking at that Michigan take. How? Why? Where are the weaknesses? And you know where I'm going after that, too? I'm stacking play action. Because they're going to have to bite off of it, because that's what Michigan did and was successful with it. And it will become a physical game. Like, you got to manage the trenches, too.
If Tennessee doesn't have really costly penalties and they take care of the football, to me, this is the profile of team it can have success against. A team that is not as good as you at the point of attack is always going to be the kind of team Tennessee can beat. Anywhere, anytime.
Yep.
And this is that kind of team. I think Tennessee can win at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. And I just really like where Nico Iamaleava is at this point of the season. I don't think nationally it's been talked about enough how much better he's gotten over the course of the season. I think we know it locally. I think Nico Iamaleava is in a great spot going into these playoffs. I really do. I feel really confident in him.
I also feel like he's going to be a good quarterback if they do go far in this. He's so calm in moments where you, as
100%.
a freshman, you'd be like, wait, what? How are you that calm? This is perfect for him in terms of that.
I'm going to push back just a little bit, because he told us something that I'm glad he did, but I need for him to find that switch, though, too.
Like the intensity?
Like a quiet intensity.
I think
I don't want him. Yeah, I know, but like I don't want him lethargic. Like, I don't want him to have to get popped again for him to be like, oh, hell yeah, let's no. Like, and players do have to find that. Like, and he can still remain calm. I don't want him to be out here meathead status. But what I'm saying is, like, the competitive edge the need to want to compete.
Right.
It needs to be play one for him.
So that's the one area you want to see a little more Will Levis and Nico Iamaleava.
I was just going to say, Will Levis kind of come to mind?
Like, we're joking about it, but I said that. Kayla,
you need like the middle ground between Nico's California cool and Levis's meatheadness.
You know who we looking for? We're looking for a little bit of Casey Clausen.
Oh, man. The Iceman cometh.
We're looking for a little bit of Casey.
The man who, when he went on the road, you knew you would get a different level.
Hey.
Casey Clausen was a killer.
That ain't no snow.
That guy was a savage.
I'm looking for that attitude. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Absolutely. That's the first Tennessee jersey I had growing up, was a Casey Clausen jersey.
That's it, man.
But then became a Gerard Mayo jersey.
Now, see, Robert talking about somebody. He's a Cali kid. So was Clausen. The entire family.
And Nico is not like, I know, I forget who the broadcaster was who brought this up. The talk about Nico being so thin. Mm-hmm. You see him in person, he's really not that thin.
Okay.
He's long. He's
so
very
tall,
lanky. But it was one of the broadcasters that did one of the last two games. I think it was the broadcast team that did the UTEP game, actually, that said, like, you watch Nico on film and you think he's this long, lanky, a big gust of wind blows him over, dude. Nico's been in the weight room.
Yeah.
Like, he's not the biggest guy. He's not Cam Newton by any stretch of the imagination. I think the other part of it is, if you see Nico's family, those dudes are huge. They're like 6'8", 300-pound like behemoths. Like, I still think Nico's going to grow into his frame a little bit.
Oh, sure.
He's not just this like tiny. He's not me. Like, he's got a little bit of muscle to him when you see him in person.
By the way, Jaden Daniels is doing it at the highest level, and that boy don't have a lot of meat on his bones.
He don't.
For sure.
He don't.
Final call for phone calls. We will give you more progress on Toy Field You can still come by and see us. We've got a little bit of time left. The Buck Rising Show up next. We are here until 6 p.m. Nissan Stadium, Gate 6. We are on the city side of the stadium. All the signs, it is well marked. It is easy to find us if you want to come by and drop off an unwrapped toy or a gift for a senior. We'll wrap up our show coming up next.
Hey, it's Kayla Anderson with my friends at We Grow Hair. Contacted them about 6 months now. I can't believe been on that journey now for that long. I was kind of seeing some hair loss in my temples and said, I am not going to stand around and let that happen. Did you know you can actually lose up to 50% of your hair before you even notice it? They have a great program, and it's all going to be catered towards what you need. They have their PRP plate richlet plasma treatments. That's going to give you results in probably 1 to 2 months. They also have their FDA approved laser therapy. That's what I've been doing for 6 months, and I can definitely see my hair being restored. If you need more hair in just one procedure, well, they have you covered there as well. They have their trademarked transplant procedures, can give you 3 times more hair, like I said, in one procedure. You cannot buy this cutting edge technology online. We Grow Hair have been doing it for 30 years at the highest level. Don't wait. You can get a free evaluation today. Just call them at 615-376-6010. That's 615-376-6010, or go to wegrowhair.com.
Wrapping up the show on Tuesday mornings, RKW live from Toy Field, presented by First Horizon Bank inside Gate 6 at Nissan Stadium. Some college sports news this morning.
What we got?
Over on ESPN on First Take, the number one basketball player in the country for the class of 2026 has committed to
Tennessee?
No. I could give you guys 100 guesses. I bet you wouldn't guess
Are
who
you
it is.
serious?
Hold on. No. I got this one.
Who's paying more than anybody in the basketball transfer portal?
Arkansas.
No.
BYU.
Kayla saw it on her screen. Yes, it's BYU. Kayla looked it up. Yes,
No, it actually
AJ
just popped up when you said it.
Debansa, I don't know how to say it. I
Yeah,
probably should.
close.
Committed to BYU over Alabama. So thank you, Cougs. Appreciate that.
The fake kings.
Sure. There you go. It's so fun being able to talk about a playoff game. I'll just be honest with you. I'm serious. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the heck out of this. I want to take like almost every day just to give Tennessee fans a pep talk, to just have some fun, just smile. You're still playing. You're one of 12 teams still playing meaningful games.
Yeah.
I'm having a blast.
Hey,
It's different, that's for sure.
It is different, and it's all good too, because this is what you asked for. I saw the comments, of course, on social media. Everywhere you see is like, you're gonna go up there to lose. Like, hey,
maybe not.
Shut up. Like, you don't know that. Like, and my thing is, I wanted our other fan bases like this. Like, it's Georgia. Like, oh, we're gonna lose this weekend.
Yes.
I was like, they are also. Yes. There's a sector.
Georgia-ing was a verb until very recently.
Okay, well,
for teams with Georgia, they would get all the way there, then they would lose.
Well, I guess Bama's about to feel that type of stuff soon, too, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're the biggest hater. Pete Nakos of On3 has predicted where some top transfer portal targets will land. There is a Nashville native in here, Barryon Brown.
Yep.
I don't see it on the list.
Tennessee not in the mix, reportedly. LSU, Ole Miss, A&M, Florida State, reportedly, the teams in the mix.
Mostly SEC teams.
Viewed as one of the top wide receivers available. He's calling his shot that LSU will be the ones to end up.
You also want to tell his projected pay for him?
Barryon Brown's services. $650K to $1 million in the portal.
Go off.
right.
USC QB Miller Moss, Louisville. The team that he is linked to.
Okay.
You've got Alabama defensive lineman Jaheim Otis, Colorado, the leader for that one. Jackson Arnold, the interesting one to me. I am still a Jackson Arnold believer.
Are you really?
I think Jackson Arnold, with a competent offensive line, could still be a good quarterback of the SEC. Pete Nakos is hypothesizing that he ends up with his old offensive coordinator again. Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, huh?
Good for him.
That would be huge for Mississippi State. Georgia and Auburn, the early schools to watch there as well. But Auburn is hosting Stanford quarterback Ashton Daniels, and that is the quarterback that many are expecting to end up being Hugh Freeze's big money QB.
They need something there, that's for sure.
They got a top 5 recruiting class coming into high school.
They have no excuses. They got to start to go up.
Who's this again?
Auburn.
Number 5 class in the country, I believe.
That's what I was going to ask Andy before we ran out of time was who's the biggest surprise next year, Florida, South Carolina, or Auburn in the SEC?
That's a good question.
Okay.
But to that point, though, what I will say about these young men jumping into the portal, sometimes it just don't work. Like, coaches lie.
Fit matters.
Oh, yeah.
They lie well, and like the mystique of like being at a big school is cool up front until you get on campus. For a lot of these guys that are not mentally ready to handle that type of competition. And yeah, I'll say that I think some guys are in a fairy tale when they commit. It's like, yeah, I'm the greatest, and sometimes there's tears to this.
Sure.
It just is, and good for them for being able to jump in. I just do hate the hopping from year to year, team to team, and stuff like that. But it's what's allowed, so do it.
That's what I was going to say. If it's allowed, and you know what? Some of these guys are going from small schools to way bigger platforms. Look at what it got Cam Ward. I mean, a trip to the Heisman, finalist ceremony. So
it's like that.
Jacob Zeno at UAB, Ashton Daniels of Stanford, those two guys that are going to be the big ones. Jacob Zeno, I think, linked to Texas A&M. Who appears poised to get a prized quarterback as well. So.
I used to be
lots of QBs.
I used to be heavy into the we need this guy. Oh, we need this guy. I've seen teams this year spend $20 million on rosters. I've seen teams crush it in the portal.
Just make it work.
And there is no rhyme or reason.
It's bigger than one player always.
It is. It's no rhyme or reason. That's why Lane is tweeting through it.
Yeah, Lane's tweeting about Malik Murphy, who is not going to go there because Lane's got his quarterback.
I keep bringing up Lane over in this because he's so loud. Like that's the only reason. There's nobody louder than him right now in the portal
He's never
doing this
changed
type
that
of stuff.
way.
I know he ain't, and good for him because eventually people start listening to him, or eventually he does just have to get over the hump and win. Or I don't think there's a change in school for him either. But I mean,
At least right now, right?
These are the rules.
That is the show from Toy Field. Appreciate you guys. The field is filling up. It is looking really good. The Buck Rising Show coming up next. We are here until 6 p.m. Gate 6, West Side, City Side, Best Side, here from Nissan Stadium. Back at it. Back in studio tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all got to remember, though, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.